Alrighty, greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Kiorkof, and welcome to Kickoff with Kiorkof. The first game of the NFL season is just a couple hours away. The 2024 season is just about to kick off. Welcome, everyone, for the next couple hours as we approach the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Baltimore Ravens to begin the 2024 NFL season and fantasy football season. I'll be answering as many questions as I possibly can. Again, in order to help you guys set your lineups, get you guys in the right position. Potentially, there's some trade questions, some waiver wire questions, all of the above. If you, in fact, do ask a question in the live chat or via super chat to claim priority, be sure to go ahead and make sure that you include your scoring format or as much potential context as you can within your questions. Outside of that, should be a fun stream. Again, we're just a couple hours away. I know many of us are chomping at the bit to finally get our teams going, especially if you have a player starting in today's game. It's going to be fantastic. Should be exciting. Couple reminders. Again, if you guys want my all-extensive rankings, all that kind of jazz, half PPR, full PPR, at all positions, you can check out Patreon, links down in the description. Or if you guys want Sunday morning rankings for the remainder of the season sent from my email directly to yours, you can go ahead and check out Underdog Fantasy. Again, at this current moment in time, before the game, we're going to go ahead and put together a couple pick'em slips, taking advantage of the free pick of Travis Kelce, 0.5 total yards. But we'll do that later on in the stream. Right now, of course, we definitely want to prioritize answering questions, helping you guys set lineups, and get you ready for the 2024 kickoff. Now, there were a couple super chats sent in to begin today's stream before the stream even began. So I do want to go ahead and address those, make sure we're all on the same page. The first question was sent in from Rob P. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. Rob asks the following question. In a full PPR, who would you start between Christian Kirk, DeAndre Swift, and Deontay Johnson? Again, for future reference, guys, when you send in questions, do me a favor and full names. At very least, full names, because at one point, I'm going to get confused. I just know it. Or no nicknames. Let's do that. No nicknames. No nicknames for players. Between those three players in a full PPR, it's between Christian Kirk and DeAndre Swift in my mind. I'd probably play DeAndre Swift there. Thank you, Rob. C. Crip sends in a following question. Says, in a full PPR, I need a flex between James Conner and DK Metcalf. In a full PPR, I have DK Metcalf ranked higher. Thank you. I saw that Henning Hack sent in a super chat as well. Says, Kenneth Walker or Metcalf in the flex spot in a full PPR. I have Kenneth Walker ranked higher. Thank you. Let's see here. Eric Sanchez had also sent in a question, but Eric, there wasn't a message attached to it. I did see that you did type in the chat, says, hey, Andrew, a guy in my league wants McLaurin for my team. And then is there any other context after that, Eric? I don't see you in the chat anymore, Eric. So if you can, do me a favor, just fully type out your message. Just type it into the live chat and I'll be more than happy to help. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see here. Outside of that, we should be good to go. We have Santio, who sent in a super chat. Thank you, Santio. Or Santino, excuse me. It says, Walker or Rice in the flex? DJ Moore and McLaurin. Between DJ Moore and McLaurin, I'd rather have DJ Moore in my lineup. As for Walker or Rice, it is very much so dependent on the scoring format. If we're talking about even in a full PPR, I'm probably leaning towards Kenneth Walker taking on the Denver Broncos. Again, their defense has not been great in terms of stopping the run. Additionally, we have seen most recently a couple improvements to the offensive line of the Seattle Seahawks. They're major favorites. The anticipation is that they're most likely going to be running the ball for majority of that second half. If it's a full PPR, let me see here. Where do I have Kenneth Walker ranked in my Patreon rankings? Kenneth Walker, where are you? Let's control F this so we can just find it real quick. Okay, there's Rashee Rice, pretty highly ranked. He is ahead of Kenneth Walker. So in a full PPR, yeah, I'll take Rashee Rice there. If it's a half PPR, which again you didn't mention your scoring format, I'd be more than happy to play Kenneth Walker there. But yeah, full, we'll take Rice. Thank you. All right, scrolling down before we continue on to some of these other super chat questions. I did see Gulf Shores say, Chiefs fan here. I'd wait a week or two on Worthy. Okay, yeah, so he's just generalizing that in the chat. I don't disagree. Objectively, I think Gulf Shores is kind of on the right page. Worthy, as of this current moment in time, let's say for a half PPR scoring format, he's my wide receiver 44. So, like, I'm not starting him unless I'm playing in a league in which I have 3 starting wide receivers and 2 additional flex, right? Maybe in those kind of scenarios where you play in a 12-team league and he's your best player off the bench and has to be flexed, I'm okay with it. But I also do agree within that circumstance of Maybe we want to wait a couple weeks, kind of see what kind of workload he's going to get, how much snap share he's going to have within this offense. Shoot, you never know. Tonight he might go ahead and catch a 75-yard touchdown. That's the kind of player he is, right? Deep receiving threat, a lot of speed. It's always on the table. But yeah, that's kind of where I have him ranked, in the mid 40s as of right now. So certainly still startable within the given week. Let's see here. Shiv in the chat says, flex David Montgomery or DJ Moore in a half PPR. I'd feel more comfortable just starting David Montgomery. Again, the guy over the course of the last, 10 games, once they've split him and Jahmyr Gibbs pretty evenly in terms of overall opportunities. And then additionally, they've split it relatively evenly within the red zone. I think he's just a safe start. He's probably going to get himself, 14, 15 touches, hopefully 12 plus fantasy points within the week. Definitely touchdown dependent, but in comparison to DJ Moore, I'll take the overall touches in comparison to the upside of him having a huge receiving touchdown down the field in comparison. Okay, after Santino's super chat question, we had one that came in from Frost Fangs, who says the following. Thank you again, Frost. Appreciate it. Starter sit, flex, Khalil Shakir or Romeo Doubs. Great. So depending, actually, let me check. So as of right now, half PPR, I have Khalil Shakir ahead of Romeo Doubs. Let me confirm I have him ahead in full PPR as well. I do have him ahead in full PPR, actually even greater circumstance in that scenario. So yes, I would take and start Khalil Shakir over Romeo Doubs this week. Thank you for the question, Frost. Appreciate it. Again, a couple reminders. As we continue to answer questions over the course of today's live stream, first and foremost, reminder, tomorrow I'll also be live streaming here on the channel. Tomorrow there is a Friday night game between the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Green Bay Packers. So if you weren't aware of that, make sure that you're getting your lineups ready to go for tomorrow as well. Do not play any of your wide receivers or running backs in the flex position if you can afford not to, going into these upcoming games. The logic of not playing, let's say for example, right, like T. Higgins today popped up on the injury report. You want to make sure that people that you're starting today's game or tomorrow's games are going to be starting within your starting running back or wide receiver positions rather than your flex in case of an injury taking place, and you need to be a little bit more, versatile in what you can be able to select and place in your flex position. You want that versatility. So just a reminder. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's see here. Skills All Day says in the super chat, says JSN or Worthy half PPR. Thoughts on Bowers? Bowers did practice this week. It's fine. But again, he is very much so going to be touchdown dependent until we see what kind of utilization he has within the offense. Should see a lot of 12 personnel sets. But the question is he going to be the number 2 receiving target or the number 3 behind Devontae Adams and, of course, Jacoby Myers? That is to be determined. And once we kind of get an understanding of that after week 1, then we can approach it with a little bit more confidence. But as of right now, definitely a dart throw for the given week at the tight end position. As for your prior question, JSN or Worthy, as it stands, I prefer JSN. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. The YouTube live chat, of course, broke for me again because, why wouldn't it? Frosty sends in a super chat. Says, Moss for Myers in a PPR, only bench wide receivers are JSN and Dobbs. So this is what I'm going to probably suggest to you here, Frosty. Considering Zach Moss has a really advantageous matchup going into this week, taking on the New England Patriots, considering the matchup is most likely going to lead to Moss getting himself a pretty good volume of overall touches, if he's able to score a decent amount of points, let's say he scores 10 fantasy points this week, I think you could trade him for more, respectively, in future weeks in comparison to just trading him now for Myers. So I think his value is only going to go up from this week. And then from there, based on his utilization, we can evaluate where he values out in terms of a potential trade and then move him accordingly. But yeah, for now, I probably would hold on to that. Let him play this week, then ship him off. If you don't feel comfortable, you could ship him, but I'm just looking for the ultimate upside of getting the most value out of Moss before we do move. Thank you for the question. Let's see here. We move on to a question that came in from Stephen Drake. Stephen, hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. Says, my brother, in a half PPR, would you flex Kupp or Ford? Without a doubt in my mind, I am absolutely flexing Cooper Kupp. Without a doubt in my mind. Ford is a great play. Do not get it mistaken. He's going to get himself a good volume of touches, probably 15 plus going into the given week against the Dallas Cowboys at home. A very heavy run first attack, especially when Deshaun Watson is under center. They're typically running the ball about 30 times per game over the course of 2023 when Deshaun Watson was starting. So the assumption is he's going to get himself a lot of touches, but Cooper Kupp taking on Detroit secondary indoors, there's no injury. I think it's just far too exciting of a matchup for me to pass up on the upside that Cooper Kupp is going to provide in comparison to Ford. Ford would have to guarantee a touchdown for me to feel comfortable. Even if I had a guarantee that Ford was scoring a touchdown, I think I'd still even start Cooper Kupp, which sounds crazy, but that's the kind of belief I have in Kupp going into the given week. Your follow-up question there, Steven, was how do we feel about Pittman this year? Thank you, sir. I mean, Pittman, very similar to a lot of these other wide receivers that are associated with quarterbacks that we don't know what they're fully capable of in the passing game. Sure, we have seen Pittman play 2 full games with Anthony Richardson. One of the games, pretty good targets, and the other, not so much. It's purely just going to be a matter of, is Anthony Richardson fully bought in on every drop back? We're looking in the direction of Michael Pittman Jr. And I think the answer is most likely going to be yes, primarily because Josh Downs still hasn't practiced yet, still dealing with his injury. Pittman's going to be the favorite. And if the Colts offense really does elevate like we anticipate them to, as long as the opportunity is there, he'll have, top 24 upside, if not even better, because that's where he's been over the course of the last 3 years. Let's see here. What the heck is this name? Lily Exel? Lilexel? I don't even know how to pronounce it, but hopefully you hear me and you know who you are. Sends in the following super chat. Thank you, first and foremost. Says, what's your thoughts on my 12-team half PPR league? Two wide receivers, 2 running backs, 2 flex. We have Burrow, Gibbs, Mostert, Collins, Waddle, McBride, Evans, Neighbors. Okay, first and foremost, considering the way that you built your team, I think this is the proper way of doing so, especially in a 2 wide receiver, 2 flex league in which you're prioritizing wide receiver and still getting an advantage at quarterback and tight end. So being able to get your hero RB of Gibbs and then follow it up with Collins, Waddle, Evans, and Neighbors, that is incredible. Then you have the positional advantage of McBride and Burrow. I don't care that your RB2 is Mostert, because Mostert could still be a top 12 guy this season and wouldn't surprise anybody based on how they utilize him and how effective he was last year. Probably not going to be likely, but nonetheless, really strong starting team. You have McLaurin coming off the bench in a 12-team league, which is ridiculous to me. I don't even know how you managed to get that. You have Dowdle, which has upside. You have Spears. You have McLaughlin. I mean, no complaints here. Really good-looking team. Really strong. I don't know how you put that one together. Failures, no option. 80 sends in a super chat. Says, full PPR. In the flex, DeAndre Swift, Rome Odunze, Brian Thomas Jr., or Zeke. In a full PPR, as it currently stands, it is going to be very dependent on whether or not we do see Keenan Allen suit up. We know that Keenan Allen yesterday was limited in practice due to a heel injury. If in fact that is something that is going to hold him out, I doubt it to be the case, but if in fact it does, maybe it his overall recovery regresses and he's not going to suit up. At that point, we would be comfortable playing Odunze. Outside of that, I'm probably playing DeAndre Swift this week out of the group that you mentioned there. Failures, no option. Thank you. Evoker sends in a super chat. Thank you, Evoker. Says in a full PPR, Anthony Richardson, Achane, Christian McCaffrey, Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Ayuk, Browns defense. My bench consists of Keon Coleman, James Conner, Mostert, Justin Herbert, Adam Thielen, and the Texans defense. Do I start Mostert in the flex? So in comparison to your alternative options of James Conner and Adam Thielen, technically, Keon Coleman I would not start in week 1 in comparison. Let's go check the full PPR list here. As it currently stands, I have Raheem Mostert as my number 21 back and Connor as my number 22 back in a full PPR. So Mostert is literally 1 spot ahead of him. And is that the comparison? That's pretty much it, right? Wait, why am I talking about James Conner? You don't even have... Oh, yeah, you do have James Conner. You have Connor. You have Mostert as well. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. So between those two, what would be your alternative option? Ayuk? Yeah, I think I'm just playing Mostert there this week. Unless it's a 3 wide receiver league, and then you can start Ayuk as well, I would just probably play Mostert in that flex position. Thank you, Evoker. Appreciate it. Devon Gutierrez sends in a question. Thank you. Says James Cook or Rashee Rice this week in a full PPR. That's a really good one. Let's see here. Full PPR flex. Where's James Cook? I have him slightly behind. Just a couple spots, but he is still behind. Look, here's the thing about James Cook. He is going to have a great week, but the issue is the rushing yardage may not be enough. The Arizona Cardinals, their defense isn't great. Let's just put it out there, right? They're my last ranked defense in fantasy in terms of pre-draft rankings. They're not the greatest. They haven't made huge improvements either. The issue is they're not going to be able to stop the run. And eventually, the question is pretty much going to be set up as who's going to be scoring these rushing touchdowns. Is it going to Josh Allen, the guy that has scored 14 rushing touchdowns in the last 17 games? I mean, I'm pretty sure he's on a streak of scoring 2 touchdowns in like 4 of the last 6 games in terms of rushing. Unbelievable numbers. But as of right now, I probably lean towards the Rashee Rice play. The guy is going to get himself, like, just wait till we put together a pick'em slip. Like, whatever his reception total is, I'm just going higher. Like, I'm just objectively doing that. But yeah, that is my suggestion as of right now. If it was a half PPR, I'd go the opposite direction for sure. Thank you. Mason Davis sends in a super chat. Thank you, Mason. Says, hey, Andrew, hope all is well. I set my team earlier. Ooh, okay. It's going to be interesting if I can find it, because obviously this YouTube chat is busted. So once the YouTube chat starts to function properly again, at that point, I'll get to it, Mason. But as of right now, just to give you a reference as to what I'm looking at right now, just so we're all on the same page. So when I turn on my YouTube chat, this is what I see, right? Like, it gets the questions. We did Liluxol like earlier, and then it's just darkness. I'm scrolling. This is literally me scrolling right now. It's just pure darkness. Look at this. It broke. Okay, so let me see. If I change it to live chat, does that make a difference? Ah, I see. I'm an idiot. Guys, who would have guessed I've been doing this for years? I'm just an idiot. Okay. Hey, guys, how's it going? Now I can see you guys in the chat. I'm so stupid. All right. Anyway, what's up, guys? Whose question was that? I'm so stupid. Mason Davis. Let's go ahead and let's Control F Mason Davis. Here we go. The following question. Okay, so hold up. Where is that's your bench, but where's your cheese, Louise, Papa Cheese? That's your bench. But where's the first half of your question? Yeah, I got cut off. So send it again, Mason. Send it again. All right, thank you. Let's scroll to, actually, let's just leave that there for now until Mason types that in. The Armory Collectible sent in a super chat. Says, congratulations on another year, Andrew. Yeah, another year of not knowing how to use the YouTube live chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. Full PPR, Rashee Rice or Devontae Adams? I'd probably just rather play Devontae Adams there. I have him ranked higher. It's not by a significant margin, but yes, I do have Adams ahead of him. I'd ask you, why aren't we starting Rashee Rice? Like, how good is your team that it's between Adams and him? That's crazy. But, I mean, obviously it's a luxury that you have and a curse at the same time. And then your follow-up question to that is Jared Goff or Prescott. I'd take Jared Goff there. As for the next question in line here, we have I'm Gucci. Says, rate my team in a 10-team full PPR format. We have Kyler, Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson, Pollard Moss, Marvin Harrison, Olave Cup, Dell Addison Laporta. Yeah, your RB2 isn't... Okay, so here's the thing about this team that I'm looking at here. In terms of this question, the team isn't structured incorrectly. It's just once your RB2 is determined based on who's going to play the best of the three, Brian Robinson, Tony Pollard, and Moss, you'll be more confident going forward. Outside of that, I mean, having Marvin Harrison, Olave, and Cup with Laporta, Christian McCaffrey, Kyler is a strong base. That RB2, yes, it's a fling up in the air every single week playing on matchups, but until we establish it, at that point, once it's established, you'll have more confidence and you'll be good to go. So yeah, don't even worry about it. Okay. Did Mason Davis type in the chat? Where's Mason? Nothing for Mason yet. Very well. We will come back to that in a moment. But yeah, in terms of this team, when you start with 1.01 McCaffrey and you're able to still get, again, Marvin Harrison, Olave, and a Cup in the fourth is ridiculous. I understand it's a 10-team league, but still, at pick 40, that's wild in a full PPR. Great looking team. All right, let's see here. The next question comes in from Baja Blast, I believe. Let me see here. Yeah, Baja Blast says, rate my team. Starting roster consists of, in a full PPR, Burrow, CeeDee Lamb, Cup, Waddle. Okay. Strong start already. Jacobs, Montgomery, great. Ferguson's tight end. Bass is the kicker, and Cincinnati's the defense. Yeah, Cincinnati's good to go for week 1. Again, Cincinnati going into this week, guys, if you need a spot start defense, is a great one, along with Seattle. Seattle may be a little bit more enticing, primarily because they also have New England next week. So they not only have to take on a rookie quarterback this week, but then they get an opportunity of taking on Brissett next week, or maybe even Drake May. We'll have to wait and see. But Seattle's also another one of those good plays in terms of spot start waiver wire defenses that maybe you didn't draft, but you can maybe switch if you're worried about your current defensive matchup in week 1. As for the team, again, Lamb, Kupp, Waddle, Jacobs, Montgomery, it's really strong. Ferguson's your X factor, obviously. There are going to be weeks he puts up 4 points. There are going to be weeks he puts up 14. It's purely just dependent on his usage within the red zone and the success of that offense. Outside of that, no complaints on the team as is. Scrolling down, after we had Baja Blast's question, we have the following from TP615. Very generous. Thank you. Appreciate it. Says, if I trade Christian McCaffrey now, which running backs would I go after in a full PPR? There's only 2 of them that you would go after. It is literally Bijan 1-for-1 or Breece Hall 1-for-1. But even then, I still think that you would be taking a discount. So you would still probably need more in return. If you want to and you want out, very well, trade a 1-for-1 for one of those guys. If you're not going 1-for-1, someone's got to give you their first and third round pick, for example. Like they've got to give you Jonathan Taylor and I don't even know. Let's say Jonathan Taylor is their first at the back end of the first. What can they get? Now, I don't even think they do that, but you get what I'm saying. They'd have to give you pretty ridiculous draft compensation in comparison because you're trying to trade away a running back that in a full PPR is putting up 23 plus fantasy points per game. You better be getting back at least 23 fantasy points per game that you can shove into your lineup. Zeke Rodriguez sends in a super chat. Thank you, Zeke. Full PPR, McConkey, Mostert, Chase Brown on my 2 flex positions. As it currently stands, I'd go Mostert for sure. As for McConkey and Chase Brown in a full PPR, let me reference the rankings from my Patreon. McConkey sits there. Chase Brown is ahead of him. So I would play Chase Brown and Mostert in the given week. Thank you. Moving on to the next question coming in from Kevin S. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. It says, rate my starters, please, in a super flex format. Very well. In the super flex, you have quarterback Lamar, and your superflex being Caleb Williams. Okay, great. 2 solid quarterbacks in the top 15 conversation. JT is my running back along with Kamara. Kupp, Waddle are my wide receivers with Rashee Rice. Pitts is my tight end. Brian Robinson Jr. is my flex. Yeah, I mean, in a full, I don't know what format this is, half or full PPR, Kevin. In a full PPR, I'd probably not want Brian Robinson Jr. as my flex. I probably want a wide receiver in that position. And if you do have one on your bench, probably make that swap. But outside of that, pretty solid team. I mean, in a full PPR, you get Kamara and JT, Lamar and Caleb, Kupp, Waddle, and Rice. Like, how can I complain about this team? The only thing is Kyle Pitts healthy? The guy already popped up on the injury report with a hamstring yesterday, which scares me. So, yeah, pretty interesting. But otherwise, pretty solid team. Ricardo Jean in the chat asks, what's the top 10 defenses? All right, let's see here. So maybe we don't do 10. But, okay, so just a reminder, for those of you who are familiar with the channel, which, again, I'm sure many of you are, for those of you who are here now, you were probably here in past seasons. Every Sunday morning, we do rankings, and it's on screen behind me. Okay, those rankings will be my updated top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends, top 12 kickers and defenses. So that'll for sure be an extensive list by the time we get to Sunday. But as of right now, when we talk about like top defenses going into this week, Cincinnati, Seattle, Cleveland, Buffalo, San Francisco. I mean, there's like just a general top 5. Then we go into teams that may be available. We have like Chicago, Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Atlanta, right? So I'm sure a lot of those defenses are available. If so, attack accordingly, have fun. All right, BDH Hopper says, hey, Andrew, rate my starters in a 10-team full PPR, 2 flex league. We have Jaden Daniels, Isaiah Pacheco, CeeDee Lamb, Jefferson, Adams, Malik Neighbors, and Kittle. I don't know who your RB2 is. It wasn't mentioned in this scenario, Hopper, but ultimately, when you have CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, and Adams, along with Malik Neighbors, really no complaints here. Your RB2 is irrelevant to an extent. We'll figure it out whether it's someone off your bench or whether it's someone that we pick up off of the waivers in the coming weeks. You're pretty set on that roster. Scrolling down, we have a question that came in from Deco. He says, in a 12-team half PPR league, I have Love, Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Rashad White, Kenneth Walker, Ferguson, Mike Evans. My bench consists of Pickens, Deontay, Njoku, Ty Chandler, and Chase Brown, Eckler, and J.K. Dobbins. Okay. The only thing that I would change here, Deco, specifically this week, is probably Njoku over Ferguson, but quite frankly, they're back-to-back ranked. Don't really have an issue otherwise there. Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Rashad White, Kenneth Walker, pretty solid RB2s/RB1s depending on the matchup within the given weeks. Lamb and Garrett Wilson are great. Love is fine. Evans is your flex, which is ridiculous. Yeah, it's just going to be the constant conversation of whether you want to have Ferguson or Njoku every week at tight end. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much set in stone. There really won't be much variable change with those players until you get to bye weeks or injuries. Hopefully, injuries do not obviously take place, but it's the nature of the game. It's going to take place eventually. Noah Kim sends in a super chat. Thank you, Noah. Says, in a half PPR, do I start Neighbors, Rice, or Diggs? I have Nico Collins already. Very well. As of right now, I'm probably playing Rice there. Yeah. As of right now, I'm probably playing Rice. Someone in the chat, TJ Green, says, Andrews or Kincaid in a PPR? I'd rather have Kincaid. The fact that you have Andrews makes me think I want to start both. I don't know why you have two tight ends of that caliber. Typically, it's not the greatest overall investment. The advantage that you get at tight end is purely only because there is a one-start, position, right? If your league doesn't have a spot where it's only tight ends, then there's no real value in drafting tight ends unless you're getting straight comparative value across the board, and you're not really taking into account the potential drop-off in production at the position. So if I'm you, I'm trying to trade one of these two guys. In a PPR for this week, I'd rather just have Kincaid, honestly. Okay, scrolling down. We had, where art thou? We had a question from Noah. We took care of that. Taylor. Toe Rod Taylor. Okay, sends in the following question. Zay Flowers or James Conner full PPR? Let me check. Let's see here. Full PPR. I'm pretty sure it's Zay. It is, in fact, Zay Flowers this week. Thank you. Okay, moving on. We had a question that came in from Triffy, who says Jerome Ford, Calvin Ridley, Josh Palmer, or Javonte Williams in a full PPR. I think it's between Ford and Ridley. Let's see where I have them accordingly. Where's Jerome Ford on this list? Calvin Ridley is one spot ahead of Jerome Ford. Quite literally, I can't make this up. 67 and 68 full PPR. Ridley's one spot ahead of him. If you feel more comfortable with Ford, I have no issue with it. They're in the same tier of my rankings, but ultimately, I do have Ridley one spot ahead. Thank you. All right. It's KQ sends in a question, says, would you rather start Ridley or Worthy in a full PPR? I'd rather start Ridley this week. Thank you. Rogo sends in a question, says, great to see you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome back, Rogo. Half PPR, 9 teams. 9 teams? No, there's no way. It may be 8 teams, but either way, doesn't matter regardless. Gibbs Montgomery, Debo Diggs, Stroud Mostert, Kincaid Swift Higgins. What is that? Philadelphia defense. We have Chase Brown, Khalil Herbert, Jake Moody, Khalil Shakir, Rico Dowdle. Is it a solid squad? In a standard half PPR, Gibbs, Montgomery, Debo. Like, what I'm confused about is, like, what was your second round pick here? You took Gibbs in the first. Like, where does this team kind of confuses me, Rogo. I'm going to be honest. I don't know where you're, like, if second round pick is Debo, then we're in trouble. Very interesting team because I really can't put my thumb on how you drafted it and how we've managed to get the value or the specific players that we did. Because it seems like you're missing a stud in this. Maybe you forgot to add one. As for start or sits, I mean, of the bunch, Montgomery, Gibbs, that's probably your RBs. Diggs and Debo are your starting wide receivers. Stroud, obviously, at quarterback. Kincaid is your tight end. Most likely, we're playing Mostert in the flex. If it's a 3 wide receiver league, you throw in Higgins. Richard Aziz sends in a question. Says Xavier Worthy, Mostert, or Addison in a full PPR. Probably Mostert out of the bunch. Yeah, I'll take Mostert there. Jordan Addison could be more compelling as we progress throughout the week. Obviously, he did practice earlier today and yesterday, so that is great. As long as there's no setback, he becomes more of a compelling argument to make. But as of right now, I'd still feel far more comfortable just playing Mostert in this scenario. Okay, let's see. If I go here, I need to refresh this page because it's lagging again. All right, after Richard Aziz, we had Konnichiwa 1234, who says, in a full PPR, pick 2: Marvin Harrison Jr. versus the Bills, Debo versus the Jets, or Rice versus the Ravens. Let me see where I have them accordingly in a full PPR. Let's go wide receiver. Debo's there. Yeah, I still do have Marvin Harrison and Debo ahead. I have both those guys. It's primarily just you drafted him to start. You typically would want to. If you're worried about Marvin, you can swap him, but otherwise, those are the two that I would go with. That's how I have it ranked. Thank you. Anthony Ort says, Worthy, Thomas Jr., or Eckler, pick one in a full PPR. Most likely, it's between Worthy. Sorry, it's between Thomas Jr. and Eckler. Worthy's not really a PPR threat, or at least we haven't seen him to be. Again, he's a rookie. He's kind of a dart throw in this scenario. But between Brian Thomas Jr. and Austin Eckler, I have Austin Eckler 2 spots ahead of him in a full PPR. 75 compared to my number 77. So it would be Eckler as the play for the given week in a negative game script. And then you kind of get a week of waiting and seeing what exactly the usage and utilization out of Brian Thomas is going to look like. And then you can approach with it the following going into future weeks. Okay, moving on to another question. We had the Watch Hangout who says, drop Jahan Dotson, Leggett, or Vidal for Luke McCaffrey. Yeah, I dropped Jahan Dotson for Luke McCaffrey. McCaffrey should be in that starting rotation if they get into 11 personnel sets. So, yes, I would make that swap. Zeke Rodriguez says, thank you. In a full PPR, Spears, Brian Thomas Jr., or Worthy? In a full PPR, I have Brian Thomas Jr. I have Brian Thomas Jr. as number 1 of the group. Thank you. All right. We had another question from Watch Hangout who says, start 2, Michael Wilson, Dontavion Wicks, Darnell Mooney, or Tyler Algier in a full PPR. Full PPR rankings, I think I have Michael Wilson and Darnell Mooney ranked the highest. Let me concur with this. Let's see here. Control, we need Wicks. Okay. So Michael Thomas Jr. is ahead of him, and so is Darnell Mooney. Yeah. I have Mooney and Michael Wilson ahead. Thank you for the question. Appreciate it. Okay, so is this live chat going to break again, or let's see here. Interesting. I don't know why YouTube does this. Why do they break their system? The chat is bricked again. No, it broke. Okay, anyway, let's get back to some of these super chats. We had a question came in from Andrew Bassel, I don't know where the heck. Maybe if I can control F function it. Nope. It's definitely lost in. Okay, so let's see here. Mason Davis. Anything? Nope. So, Mason, if you're there, type it in the chat. Additionally, for another name, Eric Sanchez, type in your full question. Additionally, another name, which is Andrew, type in your full question. All 3 of you, questions weren't attached to the super chats. Please type them into the live chat as we speak so that they can be subsequently answered. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. For those of you who are joining us today, welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. Again, we are still here for a long time. We will be here for a while. I'm literally going to be live streaming up until kickoff. So if I haven't answered your question yet, apologies. Again, there's a lot of you and there's one of me. I'm trying to do my best. Again, if you guys want extensive rankings to where you can get my rankings immediately, you can check out Patreon. There's a link down in the description and you're good to go. Or you can go ahead and sign up Underdog and get rankings from my email directly to yours every Sunday for the remainder of the season so you don't have to ask questions, send in super chats, do all that kind of jazz. So if you guys are interested in that, take advantage of it. But we will be live streaming until 5:15. Literally 5 minutes before the game begins, I will be here. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your patience. For those of you, again, that I just told to type in the chat, please do so. Get those done. While we wait there, I'm just going to answer other questions I see. B for Work, who says Rice or Metcalf. I'd rather just probably play Rice in this scenario. Butker or Moody. I'd rather have Butker this week. Abe says Godwin, Flowers, or Kirk in a full PPR. I do have Godwin and Flowers ahead of Kirk. Between Godwin and Flowers, I prefer Godwin. I like the matchup against Washington secondary. That is not great. Ayuk or Flowers? I have Flowers ahead right now. Jerome Ford or Christian Kirk in the flex? I'd probably go Jerome Ford in a half PPR. I don't have an issue with that at all. Okay, so do I see... Mason says I'm here. Lol. Mason, type your question, brother. I'm trying to help. you gotta meet me halfway at least. All right. So while we wait for those questions to be sent via the live chat, let me get back to some of the super chats that were sent in. We had one from Ollie H. Thank you, Ollie. Full PPR. I need one running back and one flex. We have Ford, Harris, Pickens, Godwin. Ford, Harris, Pickens, Godwin. Very well. I mean, the one running back that I'm playing between the two is Ford. The one wide receiver or flex, whatever it is going to be Godwin. So Ford and Godwin this week. As for your follow-up question, tight ends are Schultz, Fant, Henry, and Freiermuth. As under the assumption that there's no setbacks, in a full PPR, it's between Henry and Freiermuth. I'd rather play Freiermuth based on the usage of tight ends within Arthur Smith offenses. So yeah, I'd probably play Fryer there. I'd also play Godwin. I play Ford. That is the answer to your question, Ali. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, getting back to some of the other questions that were just sent in after Ollie. We have K Styles, who says the following. Great to see you, Andrew. Thank you. Hope you guys are doing well. Full PPR. We have Hurts, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Bijan Robinson, David Montgomery, Kittle, Olave, Rice, White, Swift, Watson, Hopkins. I put together Watson and Hopkins. I made Watkins. Any changes here? Ultimately, no. I mean, Hurts, Puka, Adams, Bijan Montgomery, Kittle, Olave. Yeah, you're good to go. There's nothing to be changed. That's the way that I would run it. And quite frankly, your team is pretty strong in terms of depth. I would assume this is a 8 or 10 team league based on the volume of, ridiculous players that you have on your bench. Jose Rodriguez says, start Caleb, Christian McCaffrey, Stevenson, St. Brown, Rice, Laporta, Waddle. My bench consists of Dak. Okay, so you're playing the right quarterback. Montgomery, I'd rather play Montgomery over Stevenson personally, but that's just my preference. And okay, you have Rice. Yep. Yeah, that's the only difference. That's the only change that I would make. That's just me as of this current moment in time. Thank you. Okay, let's scroll to the very bottom here. Let's look up Mason Davis. Any questions? Nope. All right, Mason. Well, tried to answer it, but wasn't able to get to it. So then we go to the other question that we were looking for, Eric. Anything, Eric? Nope, no Eric. Okay, Eric's out of the conversation now. And then we move on to the last person. Andrew skipped my question. Yeah, listen, brother, it wasn't attached. I'm trying to get there. Should I start Worthy or Rice tonight? It's a 1,000% Rice play. Yeah, play Rice. Thank you. Okay. Mason Davis, there we go. I see your question. Eric Sanchez, I see your question. There we go. Now they're coming in. Gentlemen, thank you. Mason Davis says, hey, Andrew, I'm in a 10-man full PPR keeper league. Very well. With an extra flex. I was picked 3. We have Kyler, James Cook, okay, Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, Marvin, Kelsey, Devontae Smith, and Chris Godwin or T. Higgins. Yeah, as of this probably weekend, in a full PPR, I'm probably playing Chris Godwin in that flex. As for the team that you constructed, again, RB2 is kind of a afterthought considering you have the extra flex there. You can always figure out RB2 later. Being able to solidify and prioritize wide receiver in your draft is the way to go. So getting CeeDee Lamb, Marvin Harrison, Devonta Smith, Chris Godwin, T. Higgins, Kelsey, quarterback advantage with Kyler. James Cook is your RB1, which again is the final RB1 that I would like. Worst case scenario. And then you have Pollard. Yeah, it's a pretty solid team there. I wouldn't change anything. Yeah, I would play Chris Godwin as that second flex though this week. Eric Sanchez says, my wide receivers are Harrison, Devontae Smith, Higgins, McLaurin, Ridley, Watson, Brian Thomas Jr. They want McLaurin and Thomas Jr. for neighbors. Should I do it? They can also do Metcalf. I prefer, thoughts. So they want McLaurin and Thomas, and they're willing to give you one wide receiver in return, which is either neighbors or Metcalf. Let me think about this for a second. You have Harrison, Devontae Smith, Higgins, McLaurin, Ridley, Watson, Brian Thomas Jr. You have so much wide receiver depth, it's kind of ridiculous. Me personally, I prefer Metcalf rest of season. If you prefer neighbors, I don't have an issue with it. And honestly, I don't mind the trade based on the volume of depth you have on your team. You have so many wide receivers that, like, quite frankly, you're not going to be able to play 60% of them every week. and they're going to be sitting on your bench. And I'd rather consolidate that into just getting a better player that I can start every week, which it would be in this specific case, either Neighbors or Metcalf. So I don't have an issue with that. Thank you for the question. Okay. Back to the chat. We answered the question of there. Okay. GF says, Diggs, Rice, Olave, pick 2. I'm playing Olave and I'm playing Rice. Thank you. Adam Amar. Adam, hope you're doing well. Says, we are so back. Eckler, Brian Robinson, or Zeke in a half PPR. Currently, if I'm not mistaken, let's go check my half PPR. Where is Brian Robinson in comparison? I have Brian Robinson ahead of both of them in a half PPR as it stands. Thank you. We move on to a question that comes in from Mats, who says, Jaden Daniels, Chase Brown, Javonte Williams, Keon Coleman, Malik Neighbors, Josh Palmer, Wicks, cut 1, half PPR. Let's see here. We're cutting one of these players in a half PPR. Jaden Daniels, Chase Brown, Javonte Williams, Keon Coleman, Neighbors. Nope. Josh Palmer. Yeah, it's Wicks. Wicks gets cut. Out of all of them, Wicks is the odd man out. Thank you, Mats. Big Ticket sends in a question. Says full PPR. Chase, Neighbors, or London in week 1. Puka and Evans are my other wide receivers. Between the bunch, I'm probably... Okay, so you drafted Chase to play him. It probably would be, especially with T. Higgins now popping up on the injury report with the hamstring, you're probably playing Chase there. Next best option is London. If in fact, by the time we get to Sunday, the injury of Kyle Pitts, his hamstring also, is going to hold him out, definitely possible. Not out of the realm of possibility. I doubt that it happens, but if it does, then at that point we play London. But otherwise, you drafted Chase to play him. I understand that he may be at a limited capacity, but I would assume he gets enough utilization in a full PPR to justify his start. Ron T says full PPR, sit 1. Olave, Devontae Smith, Kenneth Walker, or Neighbors. In a full PPR, let's see where I have Neighbors in comparison to Kenneth Walker. Let's go full PPR. Where's Neighbors here? Okay. Yeah. I'm sitting Neighbors out of the bunch. I'd rather start Kenneth Walker, Olave, and Devontae Smith this week, Ron. Thank you. The Watch Hangout says, last one. Drop Jahan Dotson, Jordan Mason, or Vidal. I'd rather drop Jahan Dotson. Leave Mason just in case anything happens to McCaffrey. You have the handcuff ready to go. And Vidal is kind of a later round guy that maybe if he's able to get some workload in week 1, could be a value going forward in comparison to Jahan Dotson. Again, I don't really see much of a role for Jahan Dotson, considering he is technically, he's maybe the 5th receiving option of that offense behind A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley. And then I would even venture to say that the 5th option of that offense, instead of Jalen Hurts throwing the ball to Jahan Dotson, is him running the ball first. So he's like the 6th option. I would drop Jahan Dotson there. Watch out. Big Stepper says, full PPR, 12 teams. Starting lineup consists of Kyler Murray, Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Marvin Harrison, Debo, Laporta, Mixon, Bears defense, and Matt Gay. I believe Matt Gay is injured right now. Let me check this right now. For the Indianapolis Colts, I believe he missed practice today. Status is uncertain for season opener, dealing with a sports hernia. So yeah, if I was in your position here, I would definitely replace your kicker. Big Stepper, that would probably be the plan of action. As for the kickers that I like this week, Kaimi Fairbairn, Harrison Butker, I'm assuming he's already on roster, Younghoe Koo, Justin Tucker, Cairo Santos, Jake Moody, Jake Elliott, Dustin Hopkins, Jason Sanders, Jason Myers. Hopefully one of those is available. If not, Cameron Dicker. Let's just throw it out there. Anyway, getting back to your question. Bench, I have Ford, McLaurin, and Love. Any changes to make? So you have Murray over Love. I would probably consider changing that, but again, they're right next to each other in my rankings. Don't mind it. Gibbs, Taylor's good to go. Marvin Harrison, Debo is good to go. Laporta, Mixon, yeah, you're good to go. I wouldn't make any changes. Obviously, I prefer one quarterback over the other, but that's just my preference. Thank you. Let's see here. Getting back to more of these questions that come in. We have Bullyface, who says McLaurin versus Kirk versus Jaden Reed. As of right now, it's probably McLaurin over the bunch. Yeah, not even just probably. I'm pretty confident that I would rather just play the number one of Washington in comparison to Jaden Reed, which, again, anybody could get the ball in Green Bay on any given week. And Christian Kirk, I kind of still want to wait and see what that offense looks like without a Ridley, without a Zay Jones in it, and how much utilization Kirk gets in the given week when you have an opportunity to just play McLaurin and you know he's going to be on the field the entire game. Let's see here. Kyron Williams ACL says Sammy Watkins or Victor Cruz in the flex. It depends what team they're on. If it's New York Giants, Victor Cruz, I'll take it. If it's Sammy Watkins on the Buffalo Bills with Tyrod Taylor his rookie year, he was pretty good that year. But yeah, it's probably Victor Cruz. Thank you very much for the question. Adam Amar says Hurts, Jefferson, Ayuk, Kyron Williams, Brian Robinson, Mark Andrews, Pickens, benches Eckler, Zeke, Mason. What is after Mason? Myers. What was that? Mason, Mooney, Bateman, Goff. Any recommendations? As of right now, Jefferson, Hurts, Ayuk, Kyron, Brian Robinson Jr. That RB2 is going to be that RB2 in flex. Those are the sketchy ones. At least you have Brian Robinson and Eckler, but at the same time, it's like one of these weeks you're going to start one and not the other, and it's going to bite you. Like it's how it works. That's why I tell people, like, if you're going to draft a Houston wide receiver, you just draft one of them. You don't draft two, because if you can't start one over the other, or you can't start both in a singular week, there's a lot of heartache that transpires thereafter. But as of right now, no, I wouldn't change anything in your lineup. You're good to go for the given week. Thank you. Vinny VK says, full PPR, Burrow, Bijan, Barkley, AJ Brown. Okay, pretty good start already. Mike Evans, Jonathan Taylor. Okay, so yeah, we've got a monster team here. Kamara, Mixon on the bench, Devontae, Diggs. Yeah, you got a monster team. Start your all-star team every week. You're good to go. Bijan, Barkley, Taylor, AJ Brown, and Evans. Yeah, you're good to go. There's no issue there, Vinny. You're good to go. Wow. Andrew sends in a super chat. Says, my reception was lost. Got it. I'm itching to start Worthy tonight over Ayuk versus the Jets. I have London, Rice, and Waddle. If you're itching to do it, go for it. I can't, in good faith and good consciousness, suggest that. But hey, go for it. I'm rooting for you. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. But yeah, I couldn't suggest it. Rogo says, sorry, I meant 9-man. I chose Gibbs, Montgomery in the first and second. Debo in the third. Why did you go Gibbs, Montgomery in the first, second? My goal was to beef up running backs because I had issues last year. All right, very well. Hey, listen, best of luck. We're hoping for the best, but that is a very, very bold move there, because you could have gotten a lot more value and still gotten Montgomery way later in your respective draft. Nathan J sends in a super chat. Nathan, hope you're doing well. Thank you. Says, hey, Andrew, in a non-PPR, Brian Robinson, Javonte, or Palmer? In a non-PPR, I'd probably play Javonte over the bunch. Yeah, I'd go Javonte number 1, probably Palmer 2, Brian Robinson 3. Kirk Hutchinson says, Higgins, Montgomery, or Brian Robinson in a full PPR. If this Higgins thing didn't pop up, I would have objectively just told you to play Higgins. But as of right now, until Friday practice hits and he's fully cleared and gets a full participation, for now I'm going to go Montgomery. Thank you, Kirk. D. Brav says, trade full PPR, 2-flex league. Do I trade Kelsey and Kamara for Justin Jefferson, Stevenson, and Conklin? Interesting. Current team is Gibbs, Kyron, Pickens, Reed, Kelsey, Jacobs. Okay, so let me just look at this in a vacuum. In a vacuum, you're trading away a potential, let's say, 3rd or 4th round selection. You're trading away a 3rd and a 4th for a 1st and Stevenson's maybe like a 6th. In terms of trade value, it's fine. I don't love the idea that you're going to have Conklin as your tight end. That is the biggest concern I have. But if there's somebody, there's a higher likelihood that you will hit on somebody via waiver wire in the coming weeks, to the point to where I'm okay with this move. Just because you're getting JJ. That's really the kicker here. If it was any other, it has to have been any, if it was like AJ Brown, I wouldn't consider it. Considering it's JJ, you have a wide receiver who's certainly capable of 22 points per game. It's kind of hard not to make this move. Okay, let's refresh this. D-Brav, thank you again. Appreciate it. After D-Brav, we have Big Stepper who says, thing is, do you prefer Mixon or McLaurin? I prefer Mixon. Thank you. Kaiser says, in a 12-team full PPR, Breece Hall, Puka, Hurst, DJ, Higgins, rest in chat. You're going to make me go digging? Oh, no. Listen, guys, again, if you can't fit the question in the chat or in the message itself, do not expect me to be able to find it in the live chat. The live chat is just, it's cooked. It is, yeah. It's for some reason, it just doesn't want to work. Let me go find, let's see if Kaiser is in here. Kaiser, yeah, no. So as soon as, yeah, it's not going to. We can refresh as much as we want. It just will not pop. So I'm going to wait until the live chat kind of refreshes, Kaiser. Once it does, at that point, I should be able to get to your question. Until then, just patiently wait. I appreciate it. Thank you. After Kaiser, we had Ro Stackson, who says, full PPR, I need 3 wide receivers in a flex. I have Tyreek Hill, Marvin Harrison Jr., Ayuk, Jaden Reed, Worthy, Rome Odunze. Very well. So as of right now, it's Tyreek number 1, Marvin Harrison number 2, Ayuk is probably 3, and it's between Jaden Reed and Odunze for number 4. Odunze would get the start if, in fact, Keenan Allen is still dealing with that heel injury and he doesn't play. Otherwise, it's Jaden Reed tomorrow. Thank you. Hassan sends a question, says, what's up, Andrew? First year fantasy, and to be honest, blessed that I found you. I'm in a 10-team full PPR league with double flex. Very well. We have Joe Burrow, Breece Hall, Mostert, Marvin Harrison, Ayuk, Mark Andrews, Metcalf, and McLaurin. Yeah, it's pretty strong across the board. I mean, you have Hall and Mostert, which again, I don't really, when you're playing in a double flex league, that second RB, it could be anybody, and I'm still okay with it. The fact that it's Mostert really does help your cause. Marvin Harrison, Ayuk, Andrews, Metcalf, McLaurin. Yeah, I don't have an issue here. Pretty good, strong starting lineup. Burrows at quarterback. Mark Andrews, we're hoping for a touchdown today at minimum, and we'll see how it kind of transpires from there. Thank you, Hassan. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Crix Cod sent in I don't even know what that is. Is that just an excitement jump? I don't even know. If you have a question, Crix, type it in the chat. Thank you. Jason Rodriguez says, in a 14-team PPR, we have Tua, Bijan, Mostert, Kupp, Waddle, Parkinson. You got to be careful with Kobe Parkinson, guys. Got to be careful. I know we want it to be, a successful play, but McVay just doesn't like to use tight ends when Kupp and Puka are on the field. Just let that be known. Dell is your flex. We have Kirk. We have Christian Kirk. We have Jameson. We have JK. We have Gus. We have Jalen Wright. IR consists of Keaton Mitchell. I want Levis or Geno on my bench. How do I drop anyone better? No, listen. You might want these players on your bench, but unless Tua has an early bye week, which I don't think they do. Dolphins bye week. Tua doesn't have a bye week till week 6. You'll have a couple weeks to be able to just kind of wait, see how these players play, and then once in fact you have an idea as to, okay, this guy's just droppable at this point, we'll get rid of him, then you can approach accordingly and go pick up your quarterbacks that you want. But until then, I'd leave it as such. As for Parkinson, I would rather start Jonnu Smith or Zach Ertz in this scenario. In a full PPR, it's probably Zach Ertz who's ranked the highest of the names that you mentioned in your message there. Thank you very much, Jason. Adam Amar follows up and says, I have Jalen Hurts and Kyron. Should I try to get Saquon? Look, I do prefer Saquon over Kyron. So if you can, sure, let's do it. I don't mind it. That way as well, you're also not getting screwed over on a lot of the overall rushing touchdowns. At least somebody's getting it. Kiwi Sports Mage says, 2 flex league, half PPR, Odunze, Shakir, JSN, Brian Robinson, and J.K. Dobbins. Let's see here. Of the following options, we have Odunze, Shakir, JSN. Okay. So let's go pull up this half PPR. Shakir is there. Jackson Smith is there. Odunze is there. Again, we're going to have to wait and see what happens with the one and only Keenan Allen and his heel injury. Let me go see where Brian Robinson is comparatively. Okay. So as it stands, Let's go back to the question. Okay, so as it currently stands, Odunze only plays in this position, Kiwi, if again something is, if we get a notification tomorrow that Keenan Allen did not practice or something of that extent. If that happens, I'm all in on Odunze. Otherwise, it's Brian Thomas Jr. and Khalil Shakir. And Odunze would be taking the spot of Brian Robinson. Sorry, apologies. Brian Robinson, Khalil Shakir. Otherwise, Odunze would take the spot of Brian Robinson. Thank you very much, Kiwi. Bodie Derby. Bodie, hope you're doing well. Says, hi, Andrew. In a full PPR, should I flex Worthy, Deontay Johnson, or Mostert? I also have Mahomes and Rice. Hope you had a good summer. I don't even know what a summer is. I'm inside making videos all day. But prior to that, it's been a pretty good year. Thank you. I had a good vacation. Let's put it that way. As soon as I left in January, I had January until now of, good amount of rest. I had actual proper hours of sleep, which no longer exist anymore, but for good reason, of course. The fantasy football season is here, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, huh? We've been waiting so damn long for this. It's finally here, just around the corner, just a couple hours here. It's 3 o'clock? We still got 2 hours and 20 minutes chopping at the bit. Slowly but surely we'll get there. As for your question, though, I'm going to play Mostert there. Yeah. I prefer Mostert above the bunch. Thank you, Bodie. Okay, so now that was taken care of, we want to find the question that was sent in from... There was somebody earlier that I was like, yo, where's your question? Can't find it. Type in the chat. Kaiser. That's who it is. Kaiser, are you in here? Kaiser, I see your question. Thank you again, Kaiser. So you say you have Breece Hall, Puka Nacua, Hurst, DJ. I think instead of Hurst, it's Jalen Hurts, because Hurst is Hayden Hurst, which again, you don't want on your team. But maybe we'll want it in a couple weeks, but for now, no. So it's Breece Hall, Puka Nacua, Jalen Hurts, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, followed up by Bowers, Stevenson, Deontay Johnson, Jalen Warren, Trey Benson, and Jacoby Myers. What any trades should I make? I mean, look, Hall, Puka, Hurts don't need to be moved. DJ Moore is solid as your wide receiver 2. Higgins is a good wide receiver 3/flex. Bowers is something that we'll have to kind of potentially improve upon going forward. Stevenson as an RB2, I don't have an issue with. Here's the thing, Kaiser, in your situation, the players that you have that you would want to trade, Bowers, Stevenson, Deontay, Warren, Trey Benson, those players don't have enough value as it currently stands to trade isolated or even as a pair duo. So where you're kind of sitting at, Kaiser, is a situation where you'll need to wait and see how the next 3 weeks transpire. If in fact these players have themselves great weeks and you can see that sustaining for the remainder of the season, then accordingly you would have them on roster and continue as such. Otherwise, if they have pop-off weeks and you think, all right, this is the best that they're ever going to get, I can potentially move them now and then accordingly improve my RB2 or improve my tight end and flex, then you do it accordingly. But for now, I would say you hold. Hope these guys have pop-off weeks within the next couple weeks, because this week, 100% guaranteed, somebody that was drafted within the first 2 rounds, maybe multiple players that were drafted within the first 2 rounds are going to have dud performances. There are going to be running backs that were top 10 running backs that have 3 consecutive weeks of less than 7 fantasy points. I can guarantee it happens every year. Those are the guys we try to trade for. So hold these players, hold the depth, let them perform, and then eventually potentially trade them to a fantasy manager that may be a little bit unsettled by the performances that they've witnessed and may want out on the situation. All right, Crix was in the chat. What did Crix say? I'm leaning towards Harris. Okay, so he's talking to somebody else there. There's no issue there. Again, appreciate it, guys. All right, scrolling back up. Let's see. Whose question were we at? I see flotation in there. Okay, so Geeked Out, thank you very much for the super chat. It says, in the flex spot, we have Jacobs or Coleman. For sure playing Jacobs, not even a question there. My running backs are Christian McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson. Very well. Second part, start Nico Collins, Pittman, Coleman, DJ Moore, Brian Thomas Jr., Watson. Quarterbacks are Stroud or Richardson for the stack. If it's a 6-point per passing touchdown league, I probably play. Well, actually, I think I changed my ranking at quarterback. I think I put Stroud ahead of. Yeah, I put Stroud ahead of Richardson today. Earlier today when I was finalizing Thursday rankings. So Stroud, Richardson, totally up to you. Personally, I'd probably just play Stroud there. I'd probably go Stroud, Nico, Pittman, and DJ Moore for your second part of your question. Thank you, Geeked Out. Appreciate it. Let's see here. We're scrolling down. Kaiser, we took care of that. I appreciate it, Kaiser. Flotation Swag says, check Twitter for lineup. Very well. Did you tag me? If you did, I can see it immediately. If you sent it via DM, then we're in trouble. I see it. Thank you. We did this last year, Flotation, so I appreciate it. Thank you. Makes my life way easier. Okay, so I'm looking at your team. Guys, that actually is probably not a bad idea. If you don't want, if your message doesn't fit, just send it to me on Twitter or just tag me and it'll just make it easier for me to answer it there. If it's a screenshot, you know? So you have Jalen Hurts. Let's see here. Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Travis Etienne, Devin Singletary, Amari Cooper, Devontae Adams, Tyler Lockett as your, oh gosh. Yeah, that's your best team. I mean, it's a deeper league and I get it. Super flex format. We're playing Dak over Rodgers. That's fine. I would do the same. Etienne, Singletary, Amari Cooper, Devontae Adams, Lockett, Laporta. Yeah, Eckler. Yeah, you're good to go. There's nothing that you would theoretically change. I wouldn't rather play the tight end over those potentially flex options. Keep it as is. Thank you, Flotation. Appreciate it. Scrolling down, we had the Watch Hangout who says choose two: Vidal, Leggett, Khalil Herbert, or Luke McCaffrey, full PPR. Are we talking about starts for this week? If we're starting two of these four players, I'm starting Leggett and I'm starting Luke McCaffrey. I'm not starting the running backs. Thank you. Even if I'm keeping them, I'm probably keeping both the wide receivers as well. Let's see here. 11 Davila Lobos says, we're back, baby. Rate my team, bro. 10-team full PPR. We have Josh Allen, Isaiah Pacheco, Kenneth Walker. Okay, so you got the best quarterback. You got two top 15 running backs. You've got CeeDee Lamb. You have Devontae Adams, two top 12 wide receivers. You got McBride, which is a top 4 or 5 tight end. Ridley's your flex, which again is your X factor, but you also have potentially other options here. Says, P.S. Should I start JSN / Najee Harris over Ridley? Personally, no, I would play Ridley there, especially considering the full PPR format. Pretty solid team there across the board, and I like the depth of having Najee and JSN as potentially rotating flex options in advantageous matchups. We're going to have to wait and see how JSN looks this week before we would play him over guys like Ridley. Freddie sends in a super chat. Thank you, Freddie. Says, I'm in a 12-team full PPR. I traded Devontae Smith and Jaden Reed for Marvin Harrison. Fantastic. I love it. Then I traded Marvin Harrison and Brian Robinson Jr. for Amon-Ra. Dude, you are absolutely just fleecing teams. Feels good, but bench is light now. Is it worth it? Yeah, it is worth it. Listen, your bench will fill up with waiver. You're going to have to hit the waivers pretty hard in the next couple weeks. And when you do so, hopefully you'll go after the right guys, or at least we'll be able to have an opportunity at the right guys that can give you a little bit of depth going forward. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Those are great plays of upgrades that you made accordingly. Rockout says, flex Connor or Neighbors in a full PPR? I'd rather flex Neighbors. Thank you. Alex says, in a 12-team, 2-quarterback full PPR league, I give Cousins, Connor, Swift, and what does this say? Okay, yeah, Connor, Swift. For Bryce Young, okay, Derrick Henry, and Dowdle. I'd rather keep. Or do you have Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts? I see, okay. So Cousins is irrelevant here. You're just getting a third quarterback in exchange for nothing. You're pretty much trading Connor and Swift for Derrick Henry and Dowdle. That's what I'm beginning to see here. Which in this scenario, under the assumption that Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen stay, as of right now, in a vacuum, it's a terrible trade. Because if something happens to your top 2 quarterbacks, you have to start Bryce Young every week, which pretty much kills your season. Additionally, if Dowdle doesn't pan out, I don't know. I get it. You get a top 12 running back here with Derrick Henry, but Connor and Swift are good. In a vacuum, I say no, considering the depth you have at quarterback, under the assumption they stay healthy for the remainder of the season. I'm okay with it, but I still think it's a very sketchy trade to make. especially if Dowdle does not pan out as we would like. Somebody said start Nick Chubb in the chat. That's a good one. I like that. That was funny. Okay. Anyway, moving on. We had a question that came in from Big Stepper who says, Bears or Lions defense? Bears. Also, just picked up Hopkins and sub kicker. Thank you. Awesome. Good to go. Moving on. John Bravo says, pick 2, Waddle, DJ Moore, Rashee Rice. I would play Waddle and Rice. Thank you. Okay, after those questions have now been addressed, we can continue on. Let's go ahead and go here. Let's refresh this. And if the internet would like to work, that would be great. It's not even the internet. It's just YouTube. Bro, YouTube, lock it in. Yeah, YouTube's just, it's slowly dying. It's okay. I'll catch up somehow. So, after John Bravo, we had Edward Spray. Edward, where is your question? It wasn't attached. Edward. Flowers or Cherry McLaurin? I'd rather play Flowers. Half PPR flex, Ford, McLaurin, or Curtis Samuel. Ford, McLaurin. In a half PPR, I'd play Ford there. Yep. I genuinely don't know who to play. Yeah, okay. So yeah, for right now, my suggestion, Edward, would be Jerome Ford and Flowers. Oh, wait, hold on. What do you have? 2 wide receivers and a flex. Yeah, you play Drake London as your number 1 wide receiver. You play Zay Flowers as your number 2, and you play Jerome Ford in the flex there in a half PPR. Edward, thank you. Appreciate it, my man. All right, so after Edward's question, we have the following. C. Crip, who says, I need 2 running backs. We have Kamara, Connor, and Mixon. Full PPR. In a full PPR, considering Connor doesn't really get much receiving upside, also it's most likely going to be a negative game script against the Bills, I'm leaning towards playing Kamara and Mixon very confidently in this week. Thank you. Enrique sends in a question. Says, full PPR, Ford or Kirk in the flex? In a full PPR, I think it's really close. I think we talked about this earlier. I think I have them back-to-back ranked, in fact. Ford. No. It was Ford and Ridley that I had back-to-back ranked. As of right now, I do have Kirk ahead of Ford. Thank you. Okay. I think we're good right now. On that, we move on to these questions. Can this please work? Thank you. There we go. So, after C-Crip, after Enrique, we have Matthew. Matthew, thank you very much. As in a full PPR, I have Jordan Love. I have Rashad White. I have Connor. I have Mostert, Edwards. As in Gus, McLaughlin, Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, Pittman, Pickens, McLaurin, Hopkins, Shaheed, and McBride. How do I improve? Okay, so considering your lineup is Love, White, Jamar Wilson, Pittman is pretty much your wide receiver 3 or flex. Your improvement is literally just bundling up players. Like, so this is what I'm thinking, Matthew. Like, Pickens and McLaurin, you could probably move right now. You can grab them both and move them. Or you can wait for them to have bigger weeks and then try to ship them for wide receivers who are underperforming early in the year. Like, I would be very comfortable in the idea, like, okay, let's say, for example, this week, DJ Moore does not play well. I'm not saying he's going to. I'm just saying, let's say he doesn't. And then the following week after that, he still doesn't play well. At that point, if McLaurin is coming off of 2 solid weeks to where you're like, all right, I'm willing to trade up, you just go and you make that move. Like, you have so much established depth with Pickens, McLaurin, Mostert, Edwards that are just sitting on your bench. Just give them time to produce or potentially outproduce their projections to the point to where you can trade them for loftier potential prospects. Otherwise, you're going to have to take 2 or 3 of these guys in order to go make an upgrade, because really replacing guys like Jamar or Wilson from your starting lineup or Pittman is going to be non-existent. There's no way that you're going to be able to upgrade beyond them unless you grab one of those 3, you pair it up with another player, then move up accordingly, which I don't think you need to. I'd rather have the depth of those strong players already on roster. So yeah, you're either grabbing 2 of these guys and moving up now, or waiting until these players perform and then moving them accordingly in the future weeks. SGK says, 12-man full PPR. Trade Mark Andrews / Moss for Connor and Ferguson. Connor, Ferguson, or Mark Andrews and Moss. It's actually a pretty even trade, I think. Across the board, under the assumption that Moss eventually kind of fades out, I think Connor and Ferguson's probably the guys that I'd rather have on roster. But giving away Mark Andrews kind of hurts. But yeah, I don't mind. I think if you have Trey Benson, it's even better. But yeah, probably Connor. That side's the play there. SG. Human Ziggy says, Worthy or Chase Brown full PPR. Also, Baltimore, Chicago, Atlanta, or Houston defense. Let me check my defensive rankings right now. Baltimore, Atlanta. Okay, I have Chicago ahead of the bunch there. In your question there. As for your prior question, Worthy or Chase Brown, if you want to play Worthy today, you can. Again, Worthy is, let's see, where do I have him in comparison to Chase Brown in a full PPR? There's Worthy. I have him ahead of Chase Brown. I have him 3 spots ahead. So in a full PPR, I would play Worthy there. If it was my team, I would play him. So go with that if you would like. Let's hope for the best. Nick Walker says, "Hey Andrew, as a secondary QB, what does that mean? As in your second string QB, which one would you pick up off waivers? Will Levis, Daniel Jones, Derek Carr, or someone else?" What does someone else mean? Like, do you have Will Levis is the answer, but if someone else means like Sam Darnold, yes. Geno Smith, yes. Deshaun Watson, yes. Baker Mayfield, yes, but if those are like the best of the best as it currently stands, Will Levis is probably the guy. Jonathan Lee says, flex 1 point per reception, Worthy, Palmer, Warren, Chase Brown. Out of those 4, I'd play Joshua Palmer. Thank you. All right, let's see here. I think I've caught up accordingly. Yeah, caught up a little bit there. Before I continue to answer questions in the live chat / super chat, I do want to appreciate you guys for coming along on today's live stream. Again, we've been here for just an hour and 15 minutes or so. We will be here for at least the next 2 hours answering questions. So thank you for your patience. Greatly appreciate it. If you guys have not yet already, of course, be sure to click the like button down below. Again, there's about 500 of us in here. The more likes we have, the more this channel continues to grow, and the more I can continue to do live streams, make videos, and try to help us win championships. Let's see here. What does this say? What does this report? Okay. Titans offensive coordinator Nick Holes says the backfield split will likely be 50-50 between Pollard and Tyjae Spears. All right, we'll see, buddy. We'll see. As soon as it's not a 50-50 split, I'll never take that man's word for the remainder of the season. I'm telling you right now. All right. Where are we? Okay, we're good to go there. Fantastic. Again, there's a lot of you. There's one of me. Apologies for not being able to answer every question. I see Nico Collins / Rossi Rice in the chat. It's Nico Collins there. Rice or Devontae Smith? I'd rather play Rice there. Where else we have here? Hey, Andrew, I have no questions for you. Okay. Well, Charlene, thank you. I appreciate it. 10 team, what is this? PPR trade. Deontay and Moser for Javonte and Rashee Rice. Yeah, I don't mind that. That's fine. Flowers, DK, or Travis Etienne. Pick 2. I'm playing DK Metcalf and I'm playing Travis Etienne there. No name. Njoku or Pitts. We'll settle that on Sunday, Mateo. We need further information on Kyle Pitts, hamstring, to get a little bit more confidence on the matter. Gozy says 10-team PPR, Higgins or Neighbors in the flex. Higgins' injury is worrying. Yeah, I think it is. I'd probably play Neighbors going into this weekend. For now, I'd say put Neighbors there. By the time we get to Sunday, it could potentially change, but those rankings will be on screen so you have an idea or indication as to which way I'm going. Someone said Mixon or Ridley. I'm playing Mixon there. Guys, just understand that you're playing your studs this week, right? Like that's the whole point of week 1. We don't want to get too cute. We want to play the guys that we drafted to be the carries of our team. So if we go the opposite direction, if we're sitting guys like Joe Mixon in week 1, we're asking for trouble. We always want to start our studs because, again, if we don't trust them now, then why do we even draft them? Like, I understand some guys have difficult matchups, but you still play them in difficult matchups. Like, Kyron Williams got probably the toughest matchup at running back this week against Detroit. That run-stop defense for Detroit is no joke, but doesn't mean I'm sitting Kyron Williams for anybody. Like, it doesn't matter. You got to fire these guys up and just let them do what they do. If they flounder, so be it. It's week 1. Big deal. But going forward, we'll be able to adjust accordingly. We'll get more information, and with more information, we can make more informed decisions. Diego in the live chat, where is your question, Diego? Because that thing was just not even remotely attached. Diego, where art thou? It says full PPR. Pick 2 neighbors, Rashi Rice or Waddle. I would take Rashi Rice and Waddle there this week, Diego. Thank you. Appreciate the question. We have Sticky Spitz, who says, happy with my draft. Ended up with Tua, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Nico Collins, DJ Moore, Goddard, Rashi Rice, Eckler on the bench, along with Deontay Johnson, Palmer, Reed, and Mike Williams. Need 3 in a full PPR. I mean, as it currently stands, Tua, McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, that's your quarterback and 2 starting running backs. Your wide receivers are Moore, Collins, and Rashi Rice. If you don't have 3 starting wide receivers, you play Rashi Rice as your flex. And Goddard's your tight end, you're good to go. So, as of right now, in terms of your bench players, it would go Deontay number 1, Jaden Reed number 2, Palmer 3, Williams 4, if I had to rank them. Spitz, thank you. AB says, advice needed. Chase, Ayuk, Rice as starters and Flowers/Rome on the bench. Do I bench Jamar until Sunday? Why would you? No. Look, the way that I would play this team is I'd play Chase, I'd play Rice, and I'd play Flowers. I'm benching Ayuk, AB. That's what I would do. Might be a little bit crazy, but that's how I function in this capacity. Yub in the chat says, how do we feel about Xavier Worthy today, Andrew? Will he get over 45.5 receiving yards? I don't even have a look. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. Let me refresh the Underdog panel here. So if we refresh this, right? Let's travel over really quickly, everybody. So obviously, again, via Underdog Fantasy today. If in fact you want to, I'm going to put together this in my slip. So that's it. If I'm not mistaken, the maximum you can do with the free play is a $10 bet. We'll go ahead and just put together players for today's game and we'll be good to go. But as for like Xavier Worthy, okay, look, this is the kind of stuff I like. You see this? These 0.75s? I don't even care that's 0.75. If I can make money on a bet, I'm going to do it, right? Like, anyway, regardless. You know what's funny? This number was 5.5 earlier today. I thought about taking it, but I was like, I already know I'm going to put a Kelsey. Anyway, I'm sidetracking. Where's Xavier Worthy's numbers? 45.5 receiving yards. 3.5 receptions. Okay, all these touchdown number ones, these are tough. Those are not as appealing. 45.5 receiving yards. I want to hope that he's capable of that. If he's not, listen, if this is September Mahomes, the assumption is that he should be able to eclipse 45.5 receiving yards. Am I taking that bet? No. But the assumption is that he should be capable of it. Like this number, okay, yeah, look, this is it. This is free. Like 8.88 makes sense because 5.5 receptions for Rashi Rice is not a number that should probably be sitting there. Let me look at Rashi Rice recently. So in recent games, what's the deal with Rashi Rice and his receptions? Let me look this up on my other monitor just so we're all on the same page. Rashi Rice, recent games, 6, 8, 4, 8, 5, 6, 9, 7, 8, 8. Those are his reception counts. So basically in the last 2, 4, 6, 10 games, he's been able to surpass 5.5 receptions 8 of the 10 games. So an 80% success rate. So I'm not surprised that there is a 0.88 multiplier on this nonetheless. I'm taking probably this, and I got to grab somebody from one of these other teams. It's probably Zay Flowers surpassing one of these numbers here, or maybe it's Lamar Jackson rushing. What is his rushing yard total at? 50.5. I don't even actually mind that. That one actually looks pretty decent to me as well. Maybe it is a Derrick Henry play, but nonetheless, 45.5. We'll think about it. As of right now, I got to think about how I want to approach this because I need another player from a different team. I will make it a Baltimore player, but in due time. Until then, let me continue back answering questions so that I can catch up with that. Appreciate it, guys. Wazoshi sends in a question. Thank you, Wazoshi. Says, PPR RB2. We have the following. Ramondre Stevenson, Chase Brown, Javonte Williams, Singletary, or Eckler. As the RB2 this week, it's in a PPR. Where do I have Javonte and Ramondre? It's pretty close between those two and Singletary as well. I have Javonte at 23 and Ramondre at number 24, Singletary at 28. So Javonte would be the guy in my mind as it currently stands. Thank you. but one spot ahead of Ramondre. So if you feel comfortable going in the direction of Ramondre, again, they're in the same tier. They're pretty much nearly identical in terms of my projected fantasy points, so don't have an issue. Diego, we took care of that question. We'll take Rashee Rice and we'll take Waddle. AC sent in a super chat. Thank you, AC. Says in a full PPR 2 flex league, Andrews or Laporta or both? Kind of might have to play both. I mean, Laporta gets the start. That's a given. Andrews, I think it's going to be dependent on what else you have, but probably have to start him as well. I mean, you drafted him to play him, right? Like, unless you have some other potential option that is a better full PPR play, another receiver that could have more potential upside, it's probably playing Andrews there in the flex. Taylor sends in a question, says, in a full PPR, start one in the flex. Zamir White, Calvin Ridley, and Joshua Palmer. Out of those three options, considering the current full PPR format, I'm probably starting Calvin Ridley. If it was a half PPR, I'd say that there's an argument to be made in terms of playing Zamir White there. But as of right now, I'm probably playing Calvin Ridley full PPR. Thank you, Taylor. AM427 says, full PPR, 12-team league. Pick two between DJ Moore, Rashee Rice, and David Montgomery. I'm probably playing both wide receivers there. I can confirm it accordingly. Let's see here. Rice. And where's DJ Moore? DJ Moore is there. Montgomery's there. Yeah, I have both the wide receivers ahead of David Montgomery in the given week in a full PPR scoring format. Thank you for your question. WRM says full PPR. I have Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Alvin Kamara. And I'm going to trade it for Chase, Kupp, and James Cook? Wilson? Okay, Garrett Wilson, London, Pitts, Kamara. For Chase, Kupp, and Cook. So you're going to trade a first, second round pick for a first, second, fourth, and fifth. For a first, third, and fourth? Honestly, I think I keep what you have on roster. Like, if you feel so down on the idea of Kyle Pitts, I think I keep what you have. Don't think I'm making that trade. I don't think in terms of value it's equivalent there. I think you're losing a little bit much because, yeah, I think you maybe are missing a little bit of value there. Like, if you feel really confident on the idea where you're like, I got to get out of this, like these guys I just cannot trust, so be it, go for it. But ultimately, in a vacuum, without context to the rest of your team, I don't know if I make that trade. No, it's not it's not even I don't know. I don't think I make that trade. That's it. Die92 says, trade Marvin Harrison Jr. for T. Higgins and Brian Thomas Jr. No, give me Marvin Harrison rest of the year. Probably 100% of the time there. Thank you. Okay, after we took care of that question, we move on to Angelo, who says, in a full PPR, do I start Najee or Eckler week one? I believe I have Eckler ranked higher in a full PPR. Let me confirm this. Austin Eckler sits there. Yes, I have Austin Eckler 2 spots ahead of Najee in a full PPR this week. Thank you for your question. Appreciate it. The issue with Najee Harris is that Jaylen Warren is a little bit more healthy, and the matchup is not great. The Atlanta Falcons defense is really good in terms of stopping opposing running backs. They now add a head coach in Raheem Morris, who is a defensive-minded coach. They brought in a lot of weapons in terms of defenders that are going to completely improve this defense, on top of the fact that they were already good last season in terms of stopping the run. So with all the pieces that they currently have, they added Matthew Judon recently, Justin Simmons. They made a lot of changes here for the better, and certainly should be an effect on Najee. Eckler's better play in full PPR. Fuzzy sends in a question. Thank you, Fuzzy. Full PPR flex, Keenan Allen, Pollard, or Bowers? As it currently stands, is probably Pollard there. Thank you for the question. Nick sends in a question. Says, Levis or Darnold or Daniel Jones as my backup this season? I'd rather just have Darnold. That's my preference. I talked about it earlier. Darnold in the last 16 starts of his NFL career has consisted of 25 total touchdowns scored. So when we put that into perspective, he's not a terrible quarterback. He really isn't. Yes, he's had himself some terrible games when he was a member of the Jets, but ultimately when you look at his last 16 games, when he's been on different teams not named the Jets, he's been a significantly better quarterback for fantasy purposes. I'm not talking about IRL. We don't care about the IRL. We're talking about, can you score fantasy points? And in this scenario, it's Darnold. Thank you. Okay, questions are moving and moving. Let's get to the live chat. Never mind, the live chat broke again. Let's see. Can I maybe mess around with it? Let's see. If I go here, like, is it an ad blocker that I have on that's like breaking this? Like, what is going on? Can I turn off ad blocker? Like, what is the issue? Nope, it's just YouTube chat straight busted. Okay, very well. We will just... Oh, there it is. Now the chat's back. There it is. Okay, maybe it was the ad blocker. That could have been it. We're making it work. Alpha 420. I disagree. Regardless, there you go, my man. Alpha, you caught me off guard the other day in the live chat saying that you agree. That was crazy. Let me tell you. Okay, so your question. How is zero RB strategy in my team? Okay, here we go. Let's see here. Half PPR, we have Prescott, Zamir White, Mostert, Jefferson, Puka, Waddle. My bench consists of the best running back handcuffs. I mean, considering what you were able to get in exchange, Jefferson, Puka, Waddle start, I would have loved that you maybe had a better quarterback or tight end in a zero RB kind of approach, Alpha. Prescott, again, for a quarterback, he's kind of like the bottom of the top 10. I don't know if you have a tight end. It wasn't mentioned here, Alpha, but I would have hoped potentially. Yeah, I would have hoped potentially for a better quarterback / tight end advantage in this scenario. There may be one, but I just don't, you didn't mention tight end. Thank you, Alpha. Nathan in the chat says Rashee Rice or T. Higgins. I'd rather just play Rashee Rice right now. Rashee Rice or Devontae Smith full PPR. Underdog, I would play Rashee there. Jay Singh says pick 2. Do I start DJ Moore, Malik Neighbors, or T. Higgins? For right now, I'd probably go Malik Neighbors and T. Higgins. I'm not even joking. If T. Higgins is ready to go by Sunday, like he's fired up. If he's not, then we can just swap it for DJ Moore, and we really have no issue there. Matt says more Underdog. We'll get to there, Matt. Don't worry. We'll get there. Trying to answer as many questions as I possibly can. Flipside Fishing. Thank you, Flipside. Hope you're doing well, by the way. Thank you for helping me win my league last year. I have to bench one of these players. Garrett Wilson, Brandon Ayuk, Chris Godwin, Jameson Williams, or Brian Thomas Jr. Out of the bunch, I'm benching Jameson Williams. The thing is, can Jameson play well and have a great breakout season? Sure. But it's kind of those let me see it to believe it type deals. Like last year in the NFL playoffs, when we saw the Rams take on the Detroit Lions, Josh Reynolds was a huge part of that game. One of the biggest reasons why, in fact, the Lions were able to get an early advantage and win that game ultimately. If Jameson Williams is going to be utilized in that kind of a role and have an immediate start where he's consistently getting targets, then, I mean, again, you have to understand it's a run-heavy offense. There's already an established number 1 and number 2. And if he doesn't come out and gain huge yardage with the lack of opportunity that he's going to be given, he's not going to be worth anything. So I'd rather just play, I'd rather play the bunch. Garrett Wilson ahead of him, Ayuk ahead of him, Godwin, Brian Thomas Jr. Thank you, Flipside. We had a question that came in from WRM again. Let's see if I can refresh this and get the full message on my screen. That way it'll make it easier. There we go. WRM says, full PPR, 2 flex. Trade Wilson, London, Kamara, Ferguson for Chase. Okay, here we go. This is the more context. Thank you, WRM. I have Josh Allen, Cup, Chase, JT, James Cook. Oh, I see. So you are trading away the Chase, Cook, and Cup. Aha. Oh, no, you will have. Never mind, you're not. Okay. Josh Allen, Jamar Chase, Cook, JT. As it currently stands, you have Wilson in London. It's a 2-flex league. I think the 2-flex league makes me want to keep what you have. Wait. Look, this. Okay. I see. So you okay. So you got it. With the Ferguson swap, I'm more inclined to make that trade. Yes. With the Ferguson swap. If you're able to keep Pitts there, WRM, I feel far more comfortable doing so. Alpha follows up, says, I have Laporta at tight end. There we go. That's the advantage I was looking for. Because I was going to say, if you're going to start 0 RB and you're going to have Zamir and Mostert as your 1-2, you better have a top tier, or if not the top tier tight end, which you do. So, yeah, that's fine. Again, I still would have liked a better quarterback there, but ultimately you're fine. You'll be okay. Joe Wilson sends in a super chat. Says, in an 8-man league, half PPR, we have Allen, Chase, Rice, Gibbs, Cook, Laporta, Montgomery. My bench consists of Diggs, Ford, Robinson, Reed, and Moss. Thoughts? Who should I flex? Montgomery's your flex. You're good to go. Like, I wouldn't change Montgomery there. If it was a full PPR, I could definitely have the conversation of replacing Montgomery with Diggs there, but considering the half PPR format, considering you also have Gibbs, we don't want to lose any value on the backfield of the Detroit Lions in case it goes one way or the other. Starting Montgomery and Gibbs every week is probably the best plan of action in this scenario. So I wouldn't make any changes. As for the flex or your starting lineup with Laporta, I mean, you have 3 Lions. I mean, you're pretty much watching every Lions game religiously this season. So congratulations. It should be fun. Lions are going to win a lot of games. Outside of that, yeah, there's no changes to be made. The bench looks good in terms of depth, considering, of course, the 8-man format. Just keep it going. You're good to go. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Okie dokie. After Joe Wilson, we have nothing there. Beautiful. Let's get to the live chat. Let's see some of these questions. Quaid says, half PPR pick 2, Kamara, Olave, Marvin Harrison. As of right now, I'm probably playing both the Saints there. Kind of crazy, but I'm kind of leaning in that direction. Rice or Debo Samuel, full PPR. Puka, Doncic. I would play Debo there. Half PPR, Ferguson or Njoku. Let me check who I have ranked higher. I put out the video yesterday in terms of tight end and quarterback rankings, if you're interested. But I do have an Njoku ahead of Ferguson as it currently stands. Kyler or Love. I'm pretty sure I still have... Yeah, I have Jordan Love ahead of Kyler. They're in the same tier, and they're literally ranked back-to-back. Love, Kyler. But as of right now, I do prefer Jordan Love in this scenario. Hi, Andrew. Waddle or Rice? Let's see here. As it stands, I have Waddle ahead of Rice in that format. What about... Yeah. In a full PPR, it is the closest that it'll get. And I have Waddle at 17 and Rice at 18 at wide receiver. Quite literally back-to-back on each other's heels. So if you prefer to play Rice and have a piece of today's game, go for it. Otherwise, Waddle would be my suggestion in both formats, as he is the highest ranked player on my wide receiver list of the 2. Thank you. Let's see here. Rob in the chat says, half PPR, Worthy, Jamison Williams, Christian Watson, Singletary. I'd rather play Singletary over the bunch there, Rob. I'm going to be honest. Seb says, hey, Andrew, what move should I make? I have Allen, Gibbs, Breece Hall, Devontae Smith, Dell, Reed, Kittle, bench. As of right now, Seb, your biggest improvement needs to be a wide receiver. So your best plan of action is most likely to wait. See if those wide receivers that you have on roster can outperform their projections. If in fact they do, you would then trade them for wide receivers that had underwhelming week ones and try to, strike on people that are, I would say, overly emotional when it comes to their players in fantasy not performing. When people don't think straight, they make stupid decisions, and that's what we want to act upon at the beginning of week 2. As soon as there's a player that underperforms, you want to strike and immediately try to make a trade for them, because their fantasy manager may be just completely distraught based on, the fact that they lost week 1. They're like, oh my God, it's over. I can't believe I spent on Drake London. Then you go swoop them up. Any Titans fans here, says Northern Tomato. Listen, I might not be a Titans fan, but I am a fan of Tony Pollard and Calvin Ridley scoring me fantasy points this weekend. All right, so let's go. Come on. Let's lock it in here. Let's see here. Let's scroll back up. After Joe Wilson's question, we had one that came in from G. Medina. Thank you, G. Please rate my team. We have Kyler Murray, Amon-Ra, Kyron Williams, Kamara, Ayuk, McBride. Okay, very well. So look, the McBride and Curry. I saw K. Murray and I thought Curry. Anyway, Kyler Murray combo, great. They're both advantageous at their individual positions, and you have the stack accordingly. So fantastic. Amon-Ra, obviously a stud. You know that. Kyron Williams, Kamara, studs. Ayuk, after a couple weeks, specifically after this week, should be fine. But then after that, you have really good depth. Pickens, White, Singletary, Trevor Lawrence coming off the bench if needed, Palmer, Hollywood Brown in the IR. That's solid. You have James Cook as your flex. That's a pretty solid group, to say the very least. It may take a couple weeks for Ayuk to find his footing, but ultimately, once he does, you got a really strong starting roster there. Okay, after G. Medina's question, we had Alpha, who says, I spend a lot of money just to disagree. Listen, you... Hold on. Technically, yes, okay? But do not feel obligated to do so, Alpha, okay? You just type it in the chat, okay? But I appreciate it. Thank you. Ankit Patel sends in a super chat, says, 12-man full PPR flex, Coleman, Jay Palmer, or Watson. I have Jay Palmer as my number 1. I have Christian Watson as my number 2, and Keon Coleman as my number 3, in that order at which I would start him. So Josh Palmer is my suggestion this week, Ankit. Thank you. Let's see here. Mr. Coyote in the chat says flex full PPR, Keenan Allen or Mostert. I'd probably play Mostert there right now. Rice or Godwin. I have Rice ahead of Godwin, but they're both highly ranked based on matchups this week. Daniel Gonzalez in the live chat says full PPR, pick one. Devontae Smith, Swift, or Watson. I'm playing Smith. Yeah, absolutely. Give me Smith against Keyshawn Nixon this weekend. Or tomorrow, actually. Should be fun. Okay. What does it say? Death Knight 100 says, hey, Andrew, I managed to draft Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, and Michael Pittman Jr. on the same roster. Should I start Richardson and or Burrow to diversify this weekend? Nah, just start. Start your studs. In this scenario, do 3 of your studs all play on the same team? Yes, but I think 3 is the limit. If you had 4 starters from one team, I'd say you're a little bit too invested. You might want to diversify, but in this scenario, I think you're fine. No worries. Dan Blazer in the chat says, drop J.K. Dobbins for Jordan Mason. If you're a Christian McCaffrey manager, I think it's fine. I wouldn't be too concerned about today's report of Christian McCaffrey's injury, primarily because you have to understand that they're obligated legally by the code of the National Football League to have to designate all of the injuries and why Christian McCaffrey was quote-unquote limited today. But also do not forget, he plays on Monday. So a Thursday practice is technically a Wednesday practice, which a lot of players that over the course of the season we're going to see are limited on Wednesdays. So do not take the Thursday designation of today as like, holy crap, it's over, he's injured. Take it as today's actually technically a Wednesday practice with him because they play on Monday. And tomorrow he'll most likely be full. And then by Saturday, we'll get the complete designation that he fully practiced and we won't have to worry. But again, if you're a Christian McCaffrey manager, you want to have the insurance, you want to have the handcuff, it's probably not a bad idea. But if you can wait, keep J.K. Dobbins, see what he's capable of doing this weekend and not having to make the move, could pan out. Maybe he's a starter. Maybe he outperforms Gus. That's why we want to keep him. But for now, I would say safe rather than sorry. But if you don't have McCaffrey, don't do it. Sergio Martinez says full PPR, Devontae Smith, Chris Godwin, or Flowers for my flex and why. Okay, I'd love to give you the why, but it would take me quite literally 10 minutes. I would suggest that you go to the video that I posted on Tuesday. Go to those 3 players. Specifically, if you go down to the timestamps and click on each of their names, you can watch those. Out of the 3, as it currently stands, I do believe that I have, let me check this right now, Chris Godwin is my highest ranked player of the bunch. Yeah, he is the highest ranked player of the bunch. Devontae Smith's number 2, Zay Flowers number 3. I would go about it as such in a full PPR. Thank you very much, Sergio. Appreciate it. Soy Car says, hi, Andrew. What do you think about Rico Dowdle? Should I pick him up? Yes, you should pick him up. Listen, going into this weekend, a lot of questions are going to be answered. Is Dalton Kincaid the number 1? Is Khalil Shakir the number 1? Is Kyle Pitts even good at football? A lot of things will be answered, such as who's the number 1 running back of the Los Angeles Chargers, of the Dallas Cowboys? Are we going to see a 50-50 split out of Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears? Questions will be answered that will give us a lot more information that going into the future weeks will help us make the correct decisions. As it currently stands, if you're able to grab Rico Dowdle right now before there's a potential of him popping off, great. You have the opportunity and a lottery ticket, and you'll have the answer by Sunday. If he doesn't pop off, great. You can drop him on Monday and move it on and go pick up somebody else off waivers. But for now, I think it's a great lottery ticket pickup. Why not? We've heard a lot of things this offseason from Mike McCarthy saying like, yeah, he's going to get utilization. He's going to get all this work. We're taking him off special teams because we want to give him all this work. Like, again, if the coach is saying that, it makes me feel more confident rather than the coach putting his star running backs on kickoff and punt return. McVay, I don't know why. Chicago or Los Angeles defense? I prefer Chicago. Should I be concerned about McCaffrey? No, you shouldn't be. Let's see here. Rice or Godwin? I have Rice higher, Kubrick. Jeffrey McGarry says, in the flex, I have Flowers. Should I play Mostert in this spot? If it's a full PPR, I'd probably say no. If it's a half, I would not mind that at all. Trevor says, from Discord. Oh, sorry, Trevor, did you send me a message? When I'm live, I don't have my Discord open on my PC. So I don't get any of the notifications, but I can check on my phone if it can be quicker that way. Yeah, I see a lot of... Listen, for Discord questions, you guys have the... you have the rankings. I posted it on Patreon earlier today around noon. So if you want my updated rankings, go and download them It's on the Excel sheet on the front page of the Patreon, ready to go. As for your question, where would you move Rico Dowdle in full PPR if I knew he was going to be the lead back of Dallas draft rankings wise? So if I knew he was going to be, okay, yeah, you asked me this earlier, I remember. If I knew that Rico Dowdle 100% is going to be the starting running back of the Dallas Cowboys, I'd probably rank him. Let me see here. Where's my draft rankings? Where is draft rankings? There it is. I probably would rank him probably somewhere between like 25 and 27. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and update this so that I can continue to answer some of these questions. Very good. Okay, so after we took care of Soy Car, we move on to Casey Pitts, who says, full PPR, please save me, Lord. Save me, my Lord. I'm not your Lord. Listen, I'm just a guy that makes YouTube videos, and I'm glad to help in any way, but, let's take it easy. Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, Joshua Palmer. Who do we play in the flex? As it currently stands, considering Keenan Allen popping up on the injury report, it's probably Deontay Johnson this week. If by tomorrow he's at a full designation, I can move it back to Keenan Allen, but otherwise it would probably still continue to be Deontay. Phil sends in a super chat. Phil, hope you're doing well. Haven't spoke to you in a while. Phil says, pick 2 wide receivers in a full PPR. We have Evans, Lamb, Flowers, Olave, and Samuel. 6-team family league. Okay, very well. I have Breece Hall in my flex. Do I take him out with Etienne and White as my RB1 and RB2? No, I don't take him out. Do I take him out? Let's see here. No, you leave it as is. You just play Lamb and Evans. That's the go-to. Phil, like usual, you're at the luxury and at the curse of having too good of a team. But yeah, you just leave it as is and play Evans and Lamb as your wide receivers. Thank you. Moving on to a question from Mr. 305, who says, my boy, half PPR, Deontay Johnson or Cortland Sutton? I have Deontay Johnson ranked higher. Thank you. Sven Dragon says, in a 0.25 PPR, Mostert, Ford, or Metcalf? Out of the group, I would play Mostert as my number 1, and I would probably play Ford as my number 2. Thank you. Papa Bless says, would you trade Gibbs and Deontay Johnson for Waddle and Kamara? Gibbs and Deontay Johnson for Waddle and Kamara. Ooh, wow. That is that makes me sick to my stomach. That one is tough. We were discussing him throwing in Keon Coleman, and I got thrown in Goddard. If you trade Gibbs, Goddard, Deontay Johnson for Waddle, Kamara, and Keon Coleman. Do I want to trade away Gibbs? In a vacuum, with no context as to what your roster looks like rest of the way. I think Deontay Johnson is going to be a lot better than people think. I'd probably just keep the Deontay Gibbs side. I really like the Kamara and Waddle idea, but I think Deontay Johnson will be better than what he is as it currently stands, and that I think is going to make the biggest difference going forward. Okay, answer that question. Perfect. Let's go back to Underdog really quickly. So, there are a couple plays that can be made here, theoretically, right? Let me refresh this page really quickly. So, of the potential plays that can be made, obviously, what happened to Rashee Rice? No. Okay, no, they took it. It's right here. Okay, cool. So, these I'm playing. This is a given. If anything, I'll even throw this on top of it. But we're gonna play it chill for now. Anytime rushing or receiving touchdowns, not terrible. 66 rushing yards. I mean, I would like to assume we're going to have more than 16 rushing attempts, but again, it's very game script oriented as to how this goes about. Okay. I'm actually curious. What does Lamar's rushing yards look like? Lamar Jackson. What does his rushing yards look like recently? In terms of per game. Let's see here. His rushing yards. 54, 100, 35, 45, 97, 70, 39, 54, 41. It's not as consistent as I'd like it to be, to where 50 is a easy crashing number. He does have new offensive linemen that could lead to more pressure, more scrambles out of the pocket. I'm Shoot, who in the chat thinks they've got the play? Because I'm looking at Lamar and I'm thinking maybe it's like passing attempts. Like, where's his passing attempts? 30.5. Like, I'm thinking that might be the play ultimately. It might be like a higher on passing attempts. Let's see here. If we go to Lamar, passing attempts recently 37, 22, 21, 35, 24. I mean, geez, Louise, this guy doesn't throw the ball, but they're winning all these games. When they're in losing efforts, let's see here. 37. What's the other losing effort? 23 against Cleveland. He lost against Pittsburgh. He had 38. He lost against Indianapolis at 31. He lost, yeah. So more times than not in losing efforts, he has over 30 passing attempts. If we assume that this team is going to lose, could be the play to where we just take the higher on the pass attempt number. That might be it. That might be the play. Okay, before I continue, let me just answer some of these questions in the live chat. This needs to get banned. So whatever this is, hide user, boom. Guys, do me a favor. In the live chat, never click on any links or anything that may say, oh, free NFL streaming. Do not do it. You will get hacked. It is not a good idea. I try to ban it on every street corner that I can see it on. So do me a favor. Do not ever click on anything like that. And also, be very careful in the comment section because there's been a lot of bot activity and a lot of fake accounts that are like, oh, you won a prize. Do not, you didn't win a prize. I'm not messaging you saying you want a prize, okay? Just so we're on the same page. Let's see here. Where are we at? How many people drafted Bateman? I don't think anybody did, Gareth. Shiv says, half PPR. You said Montgomery over DJ Moore earlier. But here you have Moore ranked higher in weekly rankings. I have Moore ranked higher in what? In full PPR or half PPR? Can I? So I'm looking at my half PPR rankings right now on Patreon. I have David Montgomery ahead of DJ Moore. So if perhaps you were in a different scoring format, maybe you're referring to full PPR, then sure. But in a half PPR, it's different. So we're on the same page now, right? Cool. Okay, let's see here. Joris in the chat says, pick 3 in a full PPR. We have Olave, Rice, Moore, Chase, and Collins. Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Olave. I mean, that's got to be the play, right? Got to play your studs. So you saying I'm not getting that Saudi oil money? Dang, what are we talking about? Yeah, you're not. Exactly. Thank you. Yes, exactly. You have not. The Nigerian prince is not blessing you with his, with all of his. Yeah, you're not being blessed by the Saudi oil prince. Hey yo, I clicked on a prize link though. You gifted me a Bitcoin. Yeah, imagine. Hey, listen, if you got a Bitcoin, brother, congratulations. Get out. Okay, get out now. Sell it. Get out of there. Cyanide. Worthy tonight? I don't think so. I don't know, man. Worthy is a little sketchy. That's the issue. Okay, let's see here. What plays can we make? Because I got to put a... Maybe it is Zay Flowers. What do we have here? Rushes / receptions for first downs. 4.5 receptions. Going higher on that number. I mean, you know what's in... Oh, it's lower. Higher is just like the automatic. Maybe I do one of these kind of plays. Like if it's just... Let's see. If it's maximum $10, 10 for 48, that's not terrible, actually. But if I throw this in there, then we have 10 for 60. Yeah, I think I'd rather just roll with one of these kind of... Let's see here. First half rushing touchdown. First half rushing yards. Interesting. First half rushing yards is a number. That I didn't even know that was a thing. Alan sends in a super chat, says news 2. Sorry, I think you meant need to. At the flex. Ramondre, Deontay, Gus, and Brian Thomas Jr. Alan, can you do me a favor and tell me what your scoring format is? That'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Rice or London start week 1? I'd rather play London. Rashee Rice is my wide receiver one in a powerful offense. The wide receiver one in a powerful offense. I'd be a buyer if anyone was willing to trade and give him away. Yes, I agree, Lonely. Moss, Pollard, Chuba Hubbard, or Dowdle as my RB2 behind Christian McCaffrey in a 12-man league. In this scenario, T-Man, I would play Chuba Hubbard as your RB2 this week. Kubrick says, I'm a Vikings fan. That means nothing to me. LOL, I don't even know what you're talking about. Asking a question. How about hitting the like button? Says Tex. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Let's do that, everybody. Please, thank you. Let's see. What else can we theoretically do? 51.5 receiving yards. I'm actually curious. What are the Zay Flowers receiving yard totals? All right, let's see. Where does Zay Flowers at? I mean, look, when he was without Mark Andrews in the lineup, it was a little bit different to say the least, but 115, 41, 106, 72, 60, 25, 43, 73. Pretty solid numbers across the board. His current number on Underdog sits at 4.5 receptions, which again is the sketchy number, even though it says it's good, but we'll have to wait and see. Where's total yards? Am I blind? 51.5. I don't even love that. I don't want to get clipped on one of these end line things. All right, you know what? We'll take it. Take Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. That's it. That's the play. Kelsey, 0.5 total yards. We're taking advantage of that. Going higher on Rashee Rice receptions. We'll take anytime Mr. Derrick Henry touchdown. That's it. I don't want to mess around with this anymore. I'm moving back to the live stream, answering more questions. Thank you very much for your patience, guys. Appreciate it. Again, guys, if you want to take advantage of the 0.5 total yards via Travis Kelce free pick of the week, be sure to do that. Oh, also, the thing that I forgot to show everybody, I showed this at the end of... Here we go. Let's go back really quickly. So I showed this at the end of yesterday's video. Every week, I'm making some stupid decisions, okay? So this is one that I made last week, right? I put Jalen Milroe, the free play with anytime McCaffrey touchdown, $10 to make like, I don't know, 21. Whatever. This is my crazy play of the week, okay? I'm not saying that this is what you need to follow, but this is my crazy play of the week. Garrett Wilson higher than 5.5 receptions. Stroud higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. McCaffrey anytime touchdown. 1,000 to win 3,000, okay? This is the crazy play of the week. If you're asking, Andrew, what play are you making this weekend? Look no further. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Let's get back to the questions, shall we? Let's go ahead and update this list. See if there's any super chats sent in. Alan, okay, let's get to your question, Alan, because I did ask you what your scoring format was, and you says is a full PPR question. Thank you, Alan. In that situation, for the two flex options that I'm suggesting, I would go Ramondre Stevenson and Deontay Johnson this weekend. I would consider Brian Thomas Jr. behind. Yeah, I wouldn't play Gus Edwards there in a full PPR. Brian Thomas Jr. could be played ahead of Deontay Johnson. I know what I'm going to get out of Deontay in comparison. So Ramondre and Deontay are your plays there, Alan. Thank you. Okay, is McConkey startable in week 1? I would say probably not, Kubrick. Godwin or Devontae Williams? Okay, I think you meant Javonte Williams, but I know what you meant. Fox, I would play Godwin there. Let's see here. Kamara or Kenneth Walker in a PPR? I have Kamara ranked higher, Alejandro. I am a Welsh Ravens fan. It's 23:51, and I'm busting. Okay, dude. All right, take it easy. Take it easy. You know, I gotta read these messages before I actually. Thank you, Gareth. Appreciate it. All right, Mr. Tube says probably going Waddle over London for the upside in a full PPR. Yay or nay? I think the upside is relatively equal for both those scenarios. If you prefer Waddle, go for it. I mean, I have nothing to argue there. I do prefer London, and the video from Tuesday kind of explains why, but otherwise we're good. PPR week 1 says Christian Kirk or David Montgomery. Yeah, look, I think it's probably better to just play Montgomery there. I think it's just safer, generally speaking. Christian Kirk technically is built for PPR, but for right now, I think I just rather play Montgomery and be safe with it. London or Rashee Rice, says John. Pretty sure I have London ranked pretty high in comparison, regardless of scoring format. London is at 13 there, and then he's subsequently at, yeah, I have London ahead of him on both half or full PPR. I drafted London to play him. Chase Brown or Worthy in a full PPR? I'm pretty sure I answered this earlier, Isaiah. I have Worthy ranked higher than Chase Brown in a full PPR. I'm pretty sure. Let me confirm that, just so we can be on the same page. Yes, I do in fact have him ahead of Chase Brown, full PPR. Thank you. Okay, so again, for those of you who are just joining us, we are about 2 hours into the stream. We've still got another hour and 15 minutes before, well, hour 20 maybe, before the kickoff of the 2024 NFL season and fantasy football season. I do appreciate all of you who have gone ahead and sent in questions, been extremely patient with me over the course of today's stream. Greatly appreciate that. Again, we're still answering questions to the best of my ability, putting together potential pick'em slips. Again, a couple reminders as we progress. If you have not yet already, subscribe to the channel, click the like button down below. I greatly appreciate the support as we are close and are on our journey to 100,000 subscribers, hopefully this season. Do not forget that the upcoming schedule in regards to videos and live streams go as such. So we're live streaming today, but tomorrow we'll also be live streaming here on the channel from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock prior to the Eagles taking on the Green Bay Packers in Brazil. Subsequently after, on Saturday, I'll also be live streaming here on the channel from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Additionally, I'll also be live streaming on Sunday morning, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time prior to kickoff. So every stream that I do is typically before games begin. I'll probably also maybe even live stream Monday night after, the, what's it called? The Jets take on the 49ers so that we can have a recap of the week. So keep that in mind. Probably live streams for the next 5 days in a row. If you guys are interested, swing on by if you have any questions. If I'm not able to answer your question over the course of today's stream, there's tomorrow, there's the next day, there's Sunday morning. All of that available. Thank you. All right, let's get to answering some of these questions. And then again, when we get to next Monday, Monday's going to be waiver wire, Tuesday running back, Wednesday wide receiver, Thursday quarterback, tight end, Friday must start, potentially hidden gems. We'll have to wait and see as to whether or not I feel comfortable with the hidden gems of that given week to suggest them accordingly, but we'll probably put together some hidden gems. Outside of that, then Saturday live stream next week, Sunday live stream, and then so on and so forth for 18 weeks. And then we're going. We're going places. We're going to the championship. Here we go. Alexander Kimi in the chat, or Kimmy, says, my friend recommended to pick Likely because Andrew's injury prone. I wouldn't technically agree with that evaluation, but okay. Should I use a bench spot for Likely? I think it's okay. Listen, this is my suggestion. If you play in a league in which you can freely move players, and what I mean freely move players by is like if you can leave Isaiah Likely on your bench tonight, and the game happens, and he's on your bench, can you drop him immediately after if he has 0 receptions for 0 yards? If that's the case, then sure, you just drop him and you're good to go. But I think it is a decent sleeper option to where I'd like to have it on roster just to see if it's worth something. If it's not, then I drop it and it's not a big deal. But if you can drop him after the game, if he doesn't do anything, I think it no harm, no foul in that scenario. Billy the Kid says, chicken fried rice or Ford F-250 in the flex. We'll take the fried rice. Thanks, Billy. Ray Gamer says, play Rice and Waddle in standard and sit Ayuk. I'm comfortable with that, yes. In a standard, it hurts, though. In a standard, Rashee Rice needs the points from receptions. I might feel some type of way by the time we get to Monday, but for now, I would say yes. Let's see here. 44 MSU 44 says Worthy or Reed in a half PPR, like Worthy's upside. Yeah, if you want to play Worthy, go for it. I would, if it's me and it's my team, I'm waiting for tomorrow and I'm playing Jaden Reed. But again, to each their own. If you'd like to roll with the September Mahomes momentum, I don't blame you. I really don't. Not in any sort of capacity there. All right. So where are we at here? That's where I thought. Okay. Papa Bless sent in a follow-up question. Thank you, Papa Bless. Says Kyler, Saquon, Gibbs, Nico Collins, DJ Moore, Kittle, Flowers, Ramondre Stevenson. All right. So we have some pretty good players here. Really good running backs, first and foremost, with the Gibbs, Saquon at the end of the first, and you're able to get Nico Collins in the third, DJ Moore, Kittle, Flowers, Ramondre. I mean, pretty good team with the double flex. I'm just relating this back to the previous donation trade about Gibbs. Got it. Let me go and find the context to that team really quickly. So Papa Bless, your trade was Gibbs, Deontay for Waddle, Kamara. And then the potential of getting in thrown Coleman. Okay, so you're sending away Gibbs and Ramondre. You'll be able to get back Waddle and Kamara. Kamara puts in there. Okay. All right. Considering how good your team is, it makes it easier to make the trade, right? Just looking at your team, you can afford to make this trade. And if Deontay, wait, it's not Deontay trade, right? Papa bless. Deontay Johnson. You have Ramondre already. I see. So you don't even play Deontay Johnson. He's not even a starter for you. I understand. Okay. So in this scenario, you're pretty much getting 2 starters for 1. With that context, it's a better trade in that. I would think, at least, Papa. Thank you for the context. Football is life, says full PPR. Trade Kenneth Walker and Mike Evans for Kyron Williams and DJ Moore. Technically, hold up. Let me see this. Pre-draft rankings. We had Kyron Williams there. I had Kenneth Walker there. Mike Evans there. DJ. I think it's even. Based on where I had them pre-draft rankings, I think it's even. If you preferred the Kyron side, take the Kyron side. If you have Corum as well, I think it makes it even safer of a potential play. But I think it's an even trade across the board, effectively. Thank you, Football is Life. Appreciate it. Brandon says Waddle or Rice. In a full PPR, I have them ranked back-to-back. Waddle, then Rice, in that order. Nikki says Keenan Allen, Worthy, or McConkey in the full PPR. As it currently stands, I want to play Keenan Allen. If Keenan Allen doesn't play and you don't have an option of playing Worthy, then you have to play McConkey. It becomes a little bit sketchier. Let me look up Keenan Allen's deal real quick. Let's see what his deal is. What is the scenario here? Let's go to news. Is there anything regarding... Okay. Says... Practice limited capacity again Thursday. By the end of August, Allen, okay. Discomfort in his foot. Okay, revealed in week 1. Yeah. I would say out of the bunch, I'm holding out for the opportunity to play Keenan Allen. Thank you. Alec in the chat says, Dak or Baker? I still do have Dak Prescott ahead of Baker. I have Dak Prescott as my number 16, Baker's my number 18. They are relatively close in rankings, like literally outside of the top 17. Baker's right there on the doorstep knocking, especially against that terrible secondary for the Washington Commanders. So if you do prefer to play Baker, I don't have an issue with it. I just do expect that Dak Prescott will be throwing the ball for majority, if not the entirety of that game against that defense. I don't know if their running game is going to find much of any success. So Dak Prescott, negative game script, throwing the ball the entire time. We could very easily see him putting up numbers like he did against the Green Bay Packers in that playoff game because all they're doing is throwing in the entire second half. Doza in the chat says, start 2 in a full PPR. We have Waddle, Neighbors, and Rice. Out of the bunch, I'm playing Rice and Neighbors. Oh, speaking of, you know what? I got to go check my sleeper team that I drafted. I'll go make sure that lineup is good to go. Chase, Garrett Wilson, Olave, Rachi Rice, Trey McBride. This team is stacked, bro. This is an absolute monster squadron. Okay, let's just leave it as is. We're good. I need to actually move Rice out of the flex, though. I don't want to play him in the flex. Let's move Rice into the starting, and then we'll move there. Perfect. Okay, that's done. Going back to answering questions. Watson or Herbert? I'd rather have Watson this week, Gareth. Dynasty, Rice or JSN? I'd rather have Rice. Again, anybody associated with Mahomes intrinsically has more value going forward, right? Hollywood is out, so Worthy could pop. Absolutely. I don't disagree with that. There's a potential of that. Absolutely. Listen, the issue is he could pop, right? Could. You know what? You could even say he should pop for a great performance tonight. But until we get an understanding as to how they want to utilize him, whether he's going to be utilized on the outside, maybe they play him in the slot for all we know. There's going to be different things what Andy Reid has kind of schemed up this offseason. Once we get an idea after tonight's game, then we'll get a better understanding as to how we want to utilize Xavier Worthy. But yes, since Marquise Hollywood Brown is out. It is the best chance for Worthy to kind of establish himself. But is it worth doing over a lot of these other options? I don't feel comfortable doing that. But again, that's just my opinion accordingly. Kirk Cousins or Rashee Rice in my super flex. I'd rather play Kirk Cousins. What you will begin to realize going forward, this is a question was answered to Jimmy Navarro. What you will begin to realize going forward is that I would take the quarterback in a super flex over pretty much everyone, except for like top tier running backs or wide receivers. And even then, I might even take them over that. Rice or Diggs is my wide receiver 3. Rice. Yeah. We're good there. Let me go ahead and let me refresh this page because I know it was a little bit busted earlier. Maybe it'll refresh. Beautiful. Good to go. Awesome. Zay or Amari Cooper. I have Amari Cooper ranked higher than Zay Flowers this week. Super debating on Mostert over Pickens in my last flex spot. I mean, let me check where I have them accordingly. Mostert. I have Mostert ahead of Pickens as it currently stands, full PPR and half PPR. Where are we at? Rashee Rice or Diggs? Yeah, we will still take Rice there. Thank you. Full PPR, Javonte or Swift? I have DeAndre Swift ranked higher in a full PPR. To answer your question, who's the better RB? 2, Ramondre or ET, as in like ETN, like as in Travis Etienne. Who the heck is ET, Mike? Because if it's ETN, you know the answer. Connor or Aaron Jones in a standard? Probably Connor. Probably. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate it. Mike Sherm said, okay, Mike's asking the same question, but he hasn't answered mine yet. It's fine. Fox says, Devontae Williams again. Fox, why are you typing Devontae again, brother? It's not Devontae. It's Javonte or Chris Godwin. And I answered it literally 40 minutes ago. And I've told you it was Godwin, brother. Come on, Fox. Let's go. Lock it in. What would you accept a 2-for-1 Bijan trade look like? Again, it depends on what the rest of my roster needs in exchange. Yeah, Mike, play ETN. I mean, there's no question about that. Play ETN. You're good. David Montgomery or Stevenson? I'd rather play David Montgomery this week. Mostert or Higgins in a full PPR? That one's a little bit closer, I think. Let's see here. I have T. Higgins ahead of Mostert in a full PPR. Thank you very much. All right, guys. You know, now that I'm actually still here, I kind of want to go put together another pick'ems play just to see what else we can get out of it. Like, I kind of want to make a play with this passing attempt idea that I had earlier. So, like, we'll take the higher on the passing attempts. We'll take it higher on the targets. Okay. And then we'll just pair it up with something that I think is safe on the opposite end of the spectrum, which I think is probably like a... What can Kelsey do for us? To sit 3.5 first downs. That's a different completely category that I have to look into. 8.5 targets. I feel like that should be eclipsed. First touchdown score. I mean, what in the heck? How am I supposed to predict that? Got any lock plays for today? Yeah, the ones that I like, I'll go ahead and I'll show it in just a moment. I think the one that I took, right, was the Kelsey point. Wait, where is this thing? Let me see here. If I go to live pick'em, this is the one. Derrick Henry anytime rushing, anytime touchdown. Rice going higher on his receptions. Travis Kelsey with the 0.5 receiving yards. Those are the plays of the day that I like. But otherwise, I'm putting together something a little bit spicy right now. I'm trying to cook a little bit here. Maybe this sits at 6 now. Yeah, look, I got it but right before it went up to 6. I don't like it at 6. That I do not like. We'll take this. Just a quick little $10. Damn, 10 turns into 32 with 4 correct. Why is that the case? Yo, that does not seem like enough. I'm only 3xing with 4 legs. How is that even that 0.75 is a killer. Yo, that is brutal. How about now? Wait, how is it 4x for 4 plays? That seems weird. Why is that the case? Huh. They changed the rules and I'm not even aware of it? I guess so. All right, whatever. Then I'll just go and I'll take the... Yeah, I'll just take the Mahomes there. We'll try that one out. All right, getting back to the questions. Apologies, guys. I just wanted to test it out. Let's see, a nice 10 for 40 or whatever it is. Okay, take over on Mike Wilson. Who the heck is Mike Wilson? Like Michael Wilson, like as in the Arizona Cardinals receiver? Is that what you're referring to, Owen? All right. Cody sends in a super chat. Says Javonte Williams or Ramondre Stevenson. Also, Cody, can you do me a favor before I even answer this? What is your scoring format? That would be greatly appreciated in terms of context. How do you feel about Pickens as a wide receiver too? It's either him or Brian Thomas. Yeah, I'd rather just play Pickens there. Obviously, there was a little bit of news earlier today in regards to Russell Wilson dealing with a calf injury. Still, obviously, re-aggravated. Not great news overall, but we'll kind of keep that monitored as we kind of progress. Drake London receiving targets. Oh, yeah, look, in terms of plays for later this week, don't even worry about that. I already have like 5 of them that I'm not even sharing yet. Like I have a Kamara, I have a Pollard, I have a Josh Allen play that I like. I was just talking about today. I'm just talking about this game, right? I'm just trying to get a little bit more excitement out of this game specifically when I watch it because I might not have enough shares of, Travis Kelce or Rashee Rice or whatever that, I might not have enough Patrick Mahomes to root for. Zamir White or Ramondre in a full PPR. Jeremy, I would play Ramondre there. Where's Cody's format? Cody, where you at? Let me see here. Control F, Cody. Cody says I'm in a PPR. No problem. Okay, so of the available you have, let me go check the rankings. Running back, I have Javonte ahead of Ramondre in a full PPR. As for your follow-up question, Brian Thomas Jr. or Deontay Johnson, I have Deontay Johnson ahead of Brian Thomas. Or Brian Thomas. Yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. or Coleman, yeah. So Javonte and Deontay Johnson would be my suggestion there, Cody. Thank you, appreciate it. Okay. So good to be back. Cooper, Ridley, or Ford in a half PPR. It's between Cooper and Ford there. Let me think about that, Chris. Let's see. Where do I have them accordingly? Where's Amari Cooper? Amari Cooper in a full PPR in comparison to Ford. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I have Amari Cooper ahead of him. Rob Monahan sends in a super chat. Thank you, Rob. Greatly appreciate it. Excuse me. Rob says the following. 14-team full PPR. Richardson, Ford Mixon, Chase, Evans, Laporta, McLaurin. Okay, so I mean, look, in terms of running back, this week, Ford's going to work. Quite frankly, Ford's going to work for the next couple weeks, and it will give time to figure out what the heck we're going to get out of Dowdle, out of your bench. Then you also have Palmer, Shakir, which again are great potential options that could accelerate in the coming weeks here. My draft was hard fought. It looks like it was hard fought. I mean, Chase, Evans, Laporta is pretty good. Richardson, you get those quarterback and tight end advantages. Running back is your sketchiest position. Mixon is going to be solid this season, but as for Ford, Dowdle, Warren, and Wright, we're going to have to make a lot out of a little, which again is going to be the biggest test on hand. But Warren, again, last season was a top 25 back in full PPR. Like he could be your RB2 if it needs to be rest of season. But yeah, for now, Ford until we figure out what the heck Dowdle's about. And until we, of course, get Warren at a more healthy rate, of course, still dealing with that hamstring. Lamar Jackson, 1.5 passing or rushing touchdowns over. Wait, is that passing or rushing? Yeah, it's 1.5 passing touchdowns or 0.5 rushing / receiving touchdowns. If it was both of them combined, I'd say absolutely. Because that's an automatic at that point, right? That would be like the best. That'd be I'd have to pay them for me to make that bet. That's like kind of, automatic that is. Rowit, what's up, my man? Says, I've been on vacation, been wanting to tune in. Is it better to draft elite quarterbacks to start 7 leagues? I got Josh Allen, Javonte, when I could have gotten Love and Mixon. I think Josh Allen's worth it. In this scenario, I think start 7 leagues is what? 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and then 1 flex. In a start 7 league, is it better to have the improvement at quarterback? I think the value at quarterback in comparison to that RB2 is more valuable to an extent. If you're playing in a full PPR, you can still get value out of RB2s that you really shouldn't be able to in a half PPR standard, right? You're able to get these players like an Eckler, and they could be an RB2 on a consistent rate, 10 to 11 points, just off of their, hey, I got 6 receptions this week for 40 yards, and I really didn't do anything. I had a couple rushing attempts. So in your scenario, I don't have an issue with the way that you approached it, going Allen and Javonte there. Again, it is going to be very dependent on Javonte stepping up, but if you were to have gone the opposite direction, it would have been very dependent on the upside plays of Love trying to keep up with what Josh Allen's going to present. There's equality to the two of them, but yeah, I'd take the quarterback advantage if I could. Jay sends in a super chat, says James Cook or DJ Moore in the flex. James Cook's probably the smarter play. The Arizona defense is not great in terms of stopping the run. The Arizona defense is not great, period. Forget just stopping the run. They can't stop the pass either. So in this scenario, James Cook should be in line for a lot of upside in terms of total touches. We have to just hope that he's able to score a touchdown. If he's able to, my goodness, he's going to make himself probably top 6 within the given week. Let's see here. Zay Flowers or Xavier Worthy? I'd rather play Zay Flowers there, Adam. Hoodie Arthur says, drop DeMarcus Robinson for Samaje Perine. I have Nico Collins, DK Metcalf, Ridley, and Neighbors as my other wide receivers. Samaje Perine could be a value. I don't know if he's going to play a lot in this game. Again, he just signed to the team last week, so he might not get a lot of overall touches. I think Isaiah Pacheco that's the funny thing. Not a single person today during the live stream has asked me about Isaiah Pacheco. Not a single human, or at least a comment that I have seen. So it seems like everybody is already under the impression that, yes, this is a 3-down back kind of game for Isaiah Pacheco, and Samaje is probably not going to get a lot of utilization. So if it's me, I don't really care to pick up Samaje. If they're going to utilize him like they did Jerick McKinnon last season or even in 2022, then sure, we want him because there's value in that. And there's value in the receiving work of this offense, considering how often they do utilize their running backs in those capacities. But I think this is going to be a 3-down year for Isaiah Pacheco. Tatum Town says, any feedback on whom to start between Zamir White and Ramondre Stevenson? Yeah, if you're in a standard league or in a half PPR league, I probably end up playing Zamir. If it's a full PPR, I'd probably play Ramondre in that scenario. Rice or Flowers in a standard format tonight? I'd still probably play Rice there. I just think that offense is more inclined to score points in comparison. It's raining in Kansas City. Probably no deep passing now. It's raining in September in Kansas City. September 5th, in fact. Really? NFL weather. Let's see here. Where's my weather report app? Yeah, slight chance of thunderstorms. Why? Like, actually, why? Why do we have to have a weather game? It's literally 87 degrees, and then we're doing lightning. Oh, look, here's the thing. If it's a lightning storm, they're going to wait until the whole storm disappears before the game even starts. So that could mean, especially with everything that it looks like, by the time the rain is washed out and there's no more rain and no more thunderstorms, then they'll start to play again, and then it'll open up more opportunities for the deep ball. So I wouldn't say it's completely out of the realm of possibility that it's going to not, the passing game is going to be eliminated because of the weather. If there's a legitimate thunderstorm, they will pause the game until they restart it later on. Anthony Barrett sent in a super chat. Thank you, Anthony. He says, hey, Andrew. Mostert or Javonte Williams this week, PPR? I'd rather play Mostert. Thank you. Dragon the Beast says, Watson or Reed? I'd rather play Jaden Reed over Christian Watson. Thank you. Jay says, full PPR. Okay, we took care of that. We're taking James Cook in that scenario. Thank you again. All right, where are we at here? Another year about to be in the books. That's right. Do you like the Steelers, Raiders, or Texans defense this week? Of the three, I believe I have. Of the three defenses, I have the Raiders highest ranked. Thank you very much, Tatum. Brian Colorado says, pick one in a full PPR. Do I start Devontae Smith, DK Metcalf, or David Montgomery? In a full PPR, I'd probably play Devontae Smith or DK Metcalf there. Between the two, it probably ends up being DK in a full PPR. Sean says, full PPR. I've already started Achane and Hill. Do I put Waddle in for all three Dolphins or Higgins? I'd still play Waddle there. Yeah, three Dolphins isn't out of the... Yeah, I'm fine with three Dolphins. If it was four, then I'd say we have issues. Start Terry McLaurin or Zay Flowers? I believe, yes, I do have Zay Flowers ranked ahead of Terry McLaurin this week. Full PPR, Terry McLaurin or Mike Williams? Do not play Mike Williams. Mike Williams will be on a snap count this week. Thank you. Ridley or Chuba Hubbard? It depends on scoring format. If it's like a half PPR, I'm willing to go with Hubbard. If it's full, I would go with Ridley. Thank you, Abraham. Appreciate it. Okay. Good to go. Good to go. Let's see here. Where are we at? Again, for those of you who are here, I appreciate you guys continuing to support the channel. If you guys haven't yet already, do me a favor. Click the like button down below. Definitely continues to help support the channel. Makes this whole thing bigger so I can continue to make, of course, content on a daily basis for you guys. I do see a chat here. Let's see here. It says, can you do a crazy $10 bet on Underdog with 5 Scorchers just for fun? Sure. We'll do that right now. Couple reminders again. If you guys sign up via Underdog using code Andrew this season and you make a first-time deposit minimum of $10, not only will you get, of course, the first-time deposit offer, be able to take advantages of free picks like this, all this kind of jazz. There's a lot of stuff that via the Pick'ems game of Underdog that honestly you're going to find a lot of success with. They're trying to give away a lot of free picks for you to have fun to begin the season, and then every week subsequently there are going to be free picks that are available. So take advantage of that, and of course when you do so, you also get my ranking sent to you from my email directly to yours every single Sunday morning so that you can set your lineups the right way. 5 Scorchers, huh? 5 Scorchers. Let's see here. Let's see what 5 Scorchers really does in terms of the multi. The multi is going to be massive. But like, what are we scorching on? Like, okay, so let's see here. So like, okay, so this one says, okay, so let's see. There's a pepper, but it's a 1.1. It's not a crazy thing. Where are we at? Where are we at? What are some of these crazy Scorchers? I mean, we can literally put together like an actual shootout. Like, what's the multi there? That's a 12x on just 3 plays. My goodness. Yeah, look, that's where it starts to jump. All right, so what's the suggestions? Let me hear some Scorcher suggestions. What do you guys see on Underdog right now that is a play that you would actually roll with in terms of a Scorch? Because honestly, I would probably just go after straight touchdowns. I don't think I'm trying. Let's see here. Completions, first touchdown scores, a rushing touchdown, fumbles lost. Yeah, like that's the more difficult things to predict. While I'm waiting to see what you guys say in the chat, let me answer some of these questions. We had a Leaf Coleman in the super chat. Thank you very much, Leaf. Says, would you drop Xavier Worthy for Rome Odunze or Christian Watson in a 10-team full PPR season long, 1 bench spot open? I do prefer Rome Odunze. Jay sends in a super chat, says Mostert, Jerome Ford, or Najee Harris. Start 2 in a full PPR. I would start Jerome Ford and Mostert in a full PPR. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. We had a following question from Dante Labella, who says, half PPR, Kirk, Reed, or Worthy? Currently, I have Kirk ranked the highest of the bunch. Let's see here. James Grover says, grade my team and any advice in a 10-team full PPR 1 flex format. We have Murray, Henry, Javonte, Dowdle, Lamb, London, Ridley, McLaurin, Sutton, Samuel, McBride. Okay, so you got a pretty good combo of that Murray, McBride stack. Henry is your solid RB1. Lamb, London, Your RB2, again, is kind of up in the air between Javonte Dowdle. We'll have to wait and see how that transpires in the coming weeks. You've got a lot more wide receiver depth when I would have loved to have had at least one or two more at least one more running back on your team instead of having McLaurin, Sutton, Samuel, maybe one of those spots go to a running back in that draft, but it's okay. You have Ferguson as a backup this is not even, it's a different team. Would you start Ferguson or Taysom Hill? I'd play Ferguson over Taysom Hill for that second question there, James Grover. But yeah, the only thing that I'm worried about is RB depth for this team, James. Outside of that, there's nothing really you would change. You're just kind of waiting to see how Dowdle and or Javonte Williams kind of plays, and then from there on kind of to decide your RB2 going forward. Ron Morris says Fergalicious. Atta baby. Okay, let's see. What do you guys see here? Rashee Rice or Pacheco tonight? I'd rather play Pacheco tonight. JSN or Scary Terry? I'd rather play Scary Terry. Weather concerns? Potentially. I mean, look, if this is going to be a running game, like, where's Pacheco here? Where art thou, Pacheco? Like, maybe it is a Pacheco game. First half touchdown? Maybe it's one of those. Maybe we just go for first. No. Look, here's the thing. Week 1 games, especially on Thursday Night Football, I don't know what the numbers typically look like. Let me actually go check. If I go to, like, NFL Week 1 and I go to 2023, are these games lower scoring in, like, the first half? Like, how do they typically pan out accordingly? Let's check here, shall we? So, like, last year, what was the score in the end of the first half of this game? We had a touchdown in the first quarter by the Lions. Then we had a touchdown there. It's 2 touchdowns in the first half for the Chiefs. So it was like a 14-7 game at halftime. Weather delay in Kansas City? Yeah, that makes sense. Again, they're going to weather delay until the thunderstorm is gone. They do not play football in those kind of weather conditions, so they'll be fine. Guys, do not concern yourself with the rain, please. Weather in Kansas City at this capacity, yeah, you're still playing your studs. Still play your studs. But this being said, this is a 22x. So in the occasion in which Derrick Henry, Rashee Rice, Isaiah Pacheco, and Mark Andrews scores a touchdown, $10 would turn into $221. So which one of these? Oh man, that's way too many touchdowns. Am I wrong? What's the Vegas spread here? Let's see here. Week 1 spread. In terms of this game tonight, 46 is the total number. So with a -3 favorite, we divide it, what is that, 23? So the assumption is that the game ends 26 to... Actually, it's a -3 favorite. So it's like a 24-20 outcome, 24-21. That's kind of where Vegas has it, 24-21. So like each team scoring multi-touchdowns. All right. I mean, if that's the case, Vegas, listen, this kind of looks like it can work. Anybody else? Terry McLaurin or DK in a full PPR? I'd like DK there. How worried are we about the weather? I'm not worried, guys. Listen, you've come to the wrong person if you want to hear me talk about weather, because I will never be worried about weather. Never. I've done this for too long, and I've seen too much, and I've played way too much fantasy to be worried about rain. It is not relevant. I promise you, unless we are in a weather scenario, okay? You guys remember a couple years back, I think it was 2020, Monday Night Football, Patriots versus Buffalo Bills. That game where it was, I don't know, 20 degrees, 70-mile-per-hour winds, where no one, literally, I'm not even joking, I think Mac Jones had 1 passing completion that game. I'm going to go find it. See, when I say I've done this for too long and I've seen too much, it's just the truth. Weather is not something to be concerned about, guys. I'm telling you. Yeah, here it is. 2021, Buffalo Bills versus New England Patriots. Mac Jones was 2 for 3 on passing completions, and New England won 14-10. Unless you're having a weather concern like that, everybody just chill. We're good. It's beautiful. It's going to be a fantastic start of the 2024 season. Everybody stay calm. Stay fucking calm. What are the procedures? What are the procedures? Number 1, do not panic. Number 2, lock it the fuck in. All right. I think I'm going to take this. Maybe we put a Patrick Mahomes leg onto this and then we keep it moving. But, I mean, there's a lot of touchdowns. Maybe we throw like Passing touchdowns lower. Nah, I don't like that. All right, this is fine. $10 for 221. There it is. Boom. We'll see what happens. Derrick Henry, anytime touchdown. Rashee Rice, anytime touchdown. Mark Andrews, anytime touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco, anytime touchdown. Very well. Very good. We'll see what happens with it. If it comes to a victorious success, beautiful. If it doesn't, so be it. All right, so we are answering questions. Before we do, again, click the like button down below. Again, if you guys want my full extended rankings, so you do not have to come and ask questions for every single live stream, you can either go ahead and get Sunday morning rankings for the remainder of the season, weeks 1 through 18, via signing up via Underdog. Now, if you've already done that, or potentially you are not available or eligible to do so because of this map, like maybe I know somebody in the chat said like, oh, Connecticut, we can't do it, or Louisiana can't do it, Nevada, all that kind of jazz. If you're in one of those states and you can't do it because you're not eligible based on your current location, you can also check out the Patreon. The Patreon offers everything and more available there. So all that information is down in the description for those of you who are interested. Thank you. Travis sends in a super chat. Thank you, Travis. Appreciate it. Travis says, Rice instead of Nico Collins or Marvin Harrison in a full PPR. Really want to start Rice. If it's my team, I couldn't do it. Personally, yeah. I can't. Like, where's Rice? Okay. Rice is closest to Marvin Harrison in a full PPR. I have Marvin Harrison as my number 16 in a full PPR wide receiver. Marvin Harrison, 16. Rashee Rice, 18. Nico Collins, 11. So there is a pretty big difference. If you would like, you can start. I mean, it is, again, you are the end-all, be-all decision maker of your team, of your franchise, of your fantasy football future. So if you would like to start Rashee Rice, go for it. I mean, listen, it's, sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit. And I respect it. But if you're asking me to tell you to start a thing, I can't. Not in good faith, not in good consciousness. I hope he balls out. I just can't guarantee that he does, That's the tough part. All right, going back to some of these questions. McLaurin or Swift in a full PPR? Stevie D, let's think about that. I think it's probably McLaurin there. David Ramos says, I'm panicking on McCaffrey. David, please stay calm. Remember the procedures. Do you have Jordan Mason? Yes or no? Did McCaffrey practice limited on a Thursday? Yes. Does he play on a Monday? Yes. So does that mean we're panicking? No. Everybody stay calm. Why is everybody panicking? All right, everybody stay fucking calm. Let's see here. Mahomes says higher than 4.5 rushing attempts. Let's see here. Mahomes stats. I want to see what his rushing attempt totals are. Recently, rushing attempt totals 9, 6, 6, 2, 4, 10, 3, 1, 4. Okay, so here's my question. If he needs the ball out, is that considered a rushing attempt? It is, right? If that's considered a rushing attempt, then I do like 4.5 rushing attempts because I do anticipate to see him need the ball out at the end of this game when they win tonight. So that might be a good one, actually. Yes. Good call, Matt. I like that. Jerry M says Rashid. Yeah, you said Rashid, but it's Rashid, but it's all good. Rashee Rice. Waddle. In my other league, Rashee Rice or Higgins. I mean, Waddle plays over Rice and Rice plays over Higgins. Ramblin' Man says start 2 Rice, Higgins, Diggs. Rice has to play. As for the second option there, probably Diggs for now because Higgins popped up with a hamstring deal earlier today. Travis Baxter says, you're the man, dude. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Just saw a vid on Twitter. It's pouring in KC. Yeah, listen, but that's the whole point of the delay. They're going to wait till that storm disappears because they're not bringing out the national anthem team if we're singing in the rain. No. We're not doing that. We are absolutely waiting for everything to clear and be good to go. And then once it's clear and good to go, who's singing the national anthem today? Anybody know? Who is singing national anthem tonight? Beautiful. They're not getting Taylor Swift to sing it? No, they wouldn't do that. There's no way they would do that, right? I mean, if they were smart, actually, I don't think the NFL could afford it. I'm going to be honest. I don't know. All right. Anyway, getting back to answering questions. Breezy says, question for my second flex spot, Chuba Hubbard or Cortland Sutton? Probably Chuba Hubbard there. Tony Lopez says, could you answer my comment from earlier? Sure, let's go find it. Tony Lopez says, rate my team in a full PPR. We have Anthony Richardson, Trevor Lawrence. Okay, Trevor Lawrence is irrelevant. You have a top 5 quarterback, great. Anthony Richardson's fantastic. Running backs are Mixon and Walker, so that's fine. No problem there. Again, 2 top 15, potential top 16 running backs in those scenarios with the upside of being better. You have Mark Andrews as your tight end. And you have Najee, Reed, Ford, and Pollard. Okay, so you didn't mention anything about your wide receivers. It's a super flex format. Got it. So who's your wide receivers, Tony? That's the real question, because if you don't got no wide receivers, then we're in a little bit of trouble there. Hive Salon sends in a super chat. Thank you, Hive. Says, flex. I have Zach Moss in, or should I put in Terry McLaurin or Cole Kmet from Chicago? It depends. Hive, what is your scoring format? Because if it's a full PPR, then yes, I'm comfortable with the Terry McLaurin play. Otherwise, if it's a half PPR, we could play Zach Moss there very comfortably. Higgins or Worthy? I'll take Higgins there. Miner says the no fun league, seeing the band get struck by lightning would boost the ratings. Well, would it boost ratings? I don't know, man. Negligence like that would not. I don't know if that does well for the ratings. I don't know about that. That would be tough. That'd be a tough scene. Luke French says McLaurin. Okay, you're talking to somebody else. No problem. Luke then asks a question, says, do I start Taysom Hill or Brock Bowers at tight end half PPR? I would play Taysom Hill. Again, yesterday I put out a video in regards to my half PPR tight end rankings and 4-point per passing touchdown quarterback rankings on the channel, top 16 in both capacities. You can check that out if you want more extensive kind of thoughts and or stats regarding those players. Thank you. Thank you, Luke. Appreciate it. Where's Hive at? Hive, where is your scoring format, my man? But actually, we already answered that, so that's not a big deal. If it was half, you take Moss. Full PPR, take McLaurin. Okay. Jeremy says, rate my squad. Half PPR. 2 flex. We have Stroud. We have Jacobs. We have White. We have Hill. We have Marvin Harrison. We have Laporta. We have Reed. Montgomery, Odunze. Thomas Jr., Corum, Wright, Daniels. 2 flex league. You've got pretty solid running backs. You've got ridiculous tight end and quarterback play. Hill, Marvin Harrison, Reed, Montgomery, Odunze. Yeah, I mean, look, the fact you have Odunze, Thomas Jr., Corum, Wright, Daniels, like your bench is pretty much give us 4 to 5 weeks. And by the time we get to week 6 and bye weeks start to hit, we will really get an understanding as to what that bench looks like. Until then, you start your studs, Jeremy. And you've got great players across the board there, even in this kind of a scenario with a double flex. So you're good to go. You're pretty much waiting for the ticking time bomb of your bench to kind of explode and become the players that we anticipate them to. So you'll need a couple weeks for that, but you'll be in a good spot. What is your idea of neighbors? I have my fears, says Jose. My idea of neighbors. I mean, look, my thoughts this week is, again, the matchup isn't the greatest. He takes on Stephon Gilmore for the Minnesota Vikings. Additionally, Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones. Can Daniel Jones be good at times? Sure. But can he be good consistently? I think he's proven that he can't. So that is the concern. But hopefully, regardless of that being the case, this offense of the Giants is going to throw the ball 40 times a game. And when they do, because there are negative game scripts all day, hopefully that leads to Neighbors getting himself 8 to 10 targets a game minimum, which could lead to potentially 5 to 6 receptions, and then whatever he's able to make of those receptions, regardless of how inaccurate they are. But, I mean, he's going to have opportunity. He's going to be littered with targets. It's just a matter of how accurate are those targets, how efficient, will it all be in those scenarios. Thoughts on Chase Brown, half PPR? Again, he's the third down back. He's going to get work in the second half once they've amassed a pretty big enough lead. He will get himself enough rushing attempts to where he can be a top 36 running back. But am I excited to play him in week 1? No. I kind of want to wait and see how this backfield kind of goes about it, what they ended up putting forward. Teagan said in an interview after practice that he felt amazing, by the way. Good to hear. Again, I don't believe it until I see a full practice designation by Friday, right? Again, they can say all they want. The actual designations will speak louder by the time we get to the final week, the final day of practice, which is tomorrow for them, because again, they play on Sunday. Let's see here. Rashi Rice or Waddle? Again, I think I've answered that a couple times, Stanley, but I'm playing Waddle there. Rice or Dell? It's Rice. Shoes says, what's up, boss? Hope all is well. It is. Thank you. Rate my team in a full PPR. We have Anthony Richardson, ETN, Jacobs, J-Jet, Nico, I mean, do you really need me to rate your team? Like, this is a team. I don't know what else you would want. ETN and Jacobs, 2 top 10 running backs. J-Jet and Nico, 2 top 15 wide receivers. You have a top 5 tight end, top 5 quarterback. Your flex is Deontay, which again isn't the sexiest flex, but as we continue, he will get better and he will be the number 1 of Carolina. Like, I don't think you need me to tell you that it's a good team. You should know it's a good team. And congratulations, you've built a pretty strong team that hopefully will carry you for the remainder of the season. CeeDee Lamb and McLaurin are my wide receivers. Sorry, says Tony. CeeDee Lamb, McLaurin. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, pretty strong team for a super flex there, Tony. Pretty strong team. Just getting CeeDee Lamb is definitely an advantage there. B for Work says, start 1, Nico Collins, James Cook, Mike Evans in the flex. Like I always, thank you. Okay, here's the thing, B for Work. You got too many studs. If it's me, I'm playing Mike Evans there, but you got way too many studs, bro. Like, what the heck is that? Joel Garza says, NFL is back. Baby, rate my team in a full PPR. I messed up on tight end, though. Lamar Jackson, Amon-Ra, Kyron Williams, Rashad White, Nico Collins, Brock Bowers, Mari Cooper. Yeah, it's a really strong team. Tight end, yeah, maybe. I don't know if I can objectively say you messed up. Maybe there was a guy in your draft that you could have taken earlier, which would have made it a little bit more of a balanced tight end spot. But if I'm you, I'm okay with this. I don't mind taking the discount at tight end, considering all of the other studs you got accordingly everywhere else, and even the bench depth that you have. Western Conference says, what's up, Andrew? McLaughlin or Mason for the waiver pickup. Only have room for one. If you have Christian McCaffrey on roster, just pick up Mason. Just have the insurance there. If you don't, then I would just pick up McLaughlin. Let's see, because McLaughlin could very easily be, like, he could be this year's, how do I explain it? He could be this year's Jaylen Warren. He could be, right? Without Samaje there, he could get more rushing attempts. He will definitely get more receiving utilization, but he could be like a Jaylen Warren-esque type of player. Jaylen Warren of 2023, specifically, if we're comparing. Or even like this year's Tyjae Spears. Last year, Tyjae Spears was a top 36 running back. McLaughlin could absolutely accomplish that within that backfield. Okay, we took care of Joel Garza. Thank you very much. Again, appreciate it. Aiden Johnson sends in a super chat. Says, PPR, who do I start in the flex? Achane, Olave, Pacheco. Achane, Olave, Pacheco. All of them, please? Aiden, what is your team that those are your options, man? Kennifer says, Andrew, appreciate the work. Rice or Andrews with extra PPR for tight ends. Extra point per reception for tight ends. I'd rather play the tight end there. In a tight end premium, the tight end is significantly more valuable in my mind. Brody says, start 1 PPR, Zay Flowers, McLaurin, or Aaron Jones. In a full PPR, I think it might be Aaron Jones. I'm going to be honest. Where do we have Flowers in comparison? Yes, we do have Aaron Jones ahead of him. Okay. Xander O'Malley says, is Justin Fields worth picking up in case he starts later down the line? If you have the available bench positioning, sure. But okay, let's say, for example, he does end up starting down the line. Who's your quarterback? Okay, so if I was to project it, if Justin Fields becomes a starter of the Pittsburgh Steelers, I would have ranked him this offseason as a top 12 quarterback. No joke. Because of his rushing upside, that's how valuable he is. But if you already have like a Joe Burrow, what's the point of having this bench spot filled in when you don't really need it to be? Because you're going to play Burrow regardless henceforth, But again, if you have the available spot, yeah, why not? You could always drop it. No harm, no foul. Tan Fam sends in a super chat. Thank you, Tam. Tan says, in a full PPR, 12 teams. Start 3 out of these. Garrett Wilson, Cup, Flowers, Rice, Mike Evans. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, I think it's really easy from my perspective. Garrett Wilson, Cup, and Mike Evans are your 3 plays. Unfortunately, you're going to have to maybe avoid watching tonight's game because you're benching Flowers and Rice. But in comparison to the available wide receivers that you have, the greatest choice is to take Garrett Wilson, Cooper Kupp, and Mike Evans as your starters. Thank you, Tan. Aiden Johnson says, gotta give me one. If you had to pick. If I had to pick PPR, I'm playing Achane. I'll take the upside. Yep, that's the way I would go. I didn't spend a early second round pick on Achane to put him on my bench week 1. Can't do it. Can't do it. Jackie sends in a super chat. Thank you, Jackie. Says PPR Mostert or Swift is my RB2. Let me check where I have Swift in comparison. In a full PPR, I have Swift ahead of Mostert. Thank you. Thank you for the question. Appreciate it. What does it say? Luke says, Power Rankings says my team's 10th. What do you rank it? Richardson, Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Kupp, Pittman, Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb, McLaurin. I mean, again, if I was to give this team a rating out of 10, okay? For example, 10 out of 10 is like you have the best player at every position. Like legitimately, you have Josh Allen, CeeDee Lamb, Christian McCaffrey. You know, you have literally the best. The number one of every position is a 10 out of 10. This team is like 8.7. Like in terms of the draft path that you went about, I don't know how you went with Gibbs, then you followed with Lamb. I mean, like Lamb Gibbs is already a really strong start. And then you follow up with Cooper Kupp, Kenneth Walker, Michael Pittman, Anthony Richardson. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to improve this team, Luke. You know how you improve the team? Free agency, waiver wires. Time will tell, you know? Do you like either defense tonight? I'm okay with Kansas City defense. Do I love Baltimore defense? No, I'm not starting Baltimore defense anywhere. No, thank you. Not too interested in that. Okay, so again, we've been here for 2 hours and 50 minutes. I want to thank you guys for, of course, first and foremost, joining me today. For those of you who have been here since the beginning, thank you for listening to my voice for this long. I greatly appreciate it. Again, a couple reminders. I'll be back tomorrow live streaming here on the channel. Probably somewhere around 2, maybe 3 o'clock to start prior to the game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, subsequently after that, I'll be live streaming here on the channel on Saturday afternoon from 1 to 3. Sunday morning as well, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. like we do every single Sunday morning. The only difference being on Sunday morning rankings, instead of this as my background, I will have behind me my top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks, and tight ends updated on screen as of that Sunday morning. So anybody who has played in tonight's game or tomorrow's game will not be included in those rankings. So it'll be all expansive rankings available if you need it. Again, the only difference is I'm not presenting flex rankings on the board. If you want to get flex rankings, the Underdog sign up and or potentially doing it via Patreon. Thank you. Answering more questions. Here we go. Hank Hennig sends in a super chat, says, are you worried about the Chiefs defense this season? I was eyeing up Indy, Falcons, and Bears defense, just trying to find the best strength of schedule. Thanks, Andrew. Chiefs defense this season? No, I don't have an issue with it. I mean, again, they play against the Denver Broncos twice that have Bo Nix. They play against the Las Vegas Raiders twice, who has Gardner Minshew, and the Chargers twice with Justin Herbert, but again, a lesser offense than seasons past. So I'm not really concerned about this Chiefs defense. They are really strong in like all capacities. So ultimately for fantasy, they've always been a top 12 defense every year for the last 10 seasons. The expectation is they will continue to be a top 10. Sure, are there going to be given weeks in which they have more difficult matchups? Like next week, Kansas City takes on the Bengals. Am I starting their defense against the Bengals? Nope. I'm looking for something else. Specifically, Seattle next week taking on New England. I'm trying to find every team that plays against New England this season and play them in my defense every week. So hopefully that answers your question. In regards to these other options you have, Indy, Falcons, the Bears. The Bears late last season were great in terms of defense. The Falcons, not so much, but they have a huge improvement in terms of coaching staff, player personnel, etc. Indy has always been good in terms of fantasy defenses the last 2 seasons under Gus Bradley. They get turnovers, they get touchdowns. What they do not do is stop opposing teams from scoring points, though. They give up a ton of points, but they make it up with the sacks, the turnovers, and the touchdowns. Thank you, Jose. Appreciate it. Just a Mango says, hey, Andrew, rate my team. Dak, Bijan, Achan, DK Metcalf, Zay Flowers, Zamir White. Also, Zamir White or Sutton in a full PPR. In a full PPR, we probably play Sutton there. As for your team, Bijan, Achan, Metcalf, Zay Flowers, Zamir White. I don't love it. I mean, I hope you have a stud tight end because otherwise this team is a little bit light on the wide receiver position. Actually, it's very light at wide receiver. Like your best wide receiver being like my number 18 or 19 is like that's oof. I hope you have a stud tight end there, just a Mango. Full PPR, Javonte or Ramondre. I have them back to back. Javonte one spot ahead. Amari Cooper or Ford in a full PPR. Isaiah Sanders. I would play Amari Cooper there. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. Where are we at? Alrighty. All right, so I'm going to make an audible. Hear me out. Let's see here. What does it say? The Ravens and Chiefs have cleared the field. Fans have been asked to make their way into the due to the inclement weather in the area. Very well. Okay. So we are probably somewhere between, I'd say 18 minutes away from the stream closing out today. Again, I want to thank you guys for coming out. Just Williams or Ju. We'll just call you Williams. Williams says, "Did I miss you? Did I miss you? Answer? Question mark. 8-team league, DK versus Denver, Kamara versus Panthers. You may have missed the answer, but it's Kamara is my suggestion there, Williams." Tano Martin says, "Hey Andrew, full PPR, Rashi Rice, Palmer, or Sutton? I'll take Rice this week. Thank you." Rexton says 10-team, full PPR. Should I trade Deontay and Moser for Javonte and Rashi Rice? I don't have an issue with that. That's fine by me. If you're in a full PPR, I'm okay with that. Hey Andrew, which side do you trade? Mostert, Najee, or Zamir or Terry? I'd rather have Mostert, Najee. Rashi Rice or DJ Moore? I'll take Rashi. Rashi Rice or Montgomery? I'd rather take Rashi as well there. Caleb Reed says, do you think Lamar is going under on passing yards? I don't think so. I mean, again, I'm hoping it's a shootout. Again, I am the worst person to ask when it comes to underwhelming performances because all I look for is positives. If I see a negative, I might go a little bit overboard on it, specifically Ayuk going up against the Jets this weekend. But in this scenario, I'm always hoping for the best and I'm always looking for the potential upside of every player. So I couldn't tell you if he's going under on passing yards there, Caleb. Lilexol sends in a super chat. Thank you. Says, I'm in a 12-team, half PPR. Trade McLaurin and Dowdle for Debo. Yes, I would. Give me Debo there. My other running backs are Gibbs, Mostert, Spears, and McLaughlin. I'll take that deal. My other wide receivers are Colin. Yep, I'll take it. I don't have an issue with it. Give me Debo. Thank you. Gabe sends in a super chat. Thank you, Gabe. Appreciate it. Says full PPR, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. We have Worthy, JSN, and Brian Thomas Jr. So you said 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, and then you mentioned 3 players. So all 3 of them fill in those 3 spots. So is there a mistake in the message you sent, or is there a player missing? Let me know, Gabe. Thank you. Is Flowers worth a start in a PPR at the flex? It depends on what your alternative positional play is there, SM. I think it is worth a play. Depends, again, what's available. Swift or Ford at a full PPR? Isaiah Sanders. I would play Swift there. That's fine. PPR, says Crazy Clips. Says PPR in the flex. Monty or Moore? I'd probably... PPR would play Moore there. That's fine. This is only my second fantasy team for football. I'm a big hockey guy, okay? But I posted my team above. Probably got passed over. Can you search it? Yeah. I'll check it out in a second. Gabe says, I meant choose 1 flex. My bad. Choose 1 flex or choose 1 wide receiver and 1 flex? That's the real question. Okay. Yolm Corey says, my team is Kyler Murray, Barkley, Kyron, Metcalf, Higgins, Taysom Hill. Don't love Taysom Hill at tight end there, but okay. Flex is Mixon, okay. Kickers, Moody, defense, Seattle. Bench consists of Addison, Zach Moss, Brian Thompson. Okay, so the wide receiver twos, I don't love it, but when you start double RB, I get it. Tight end, don't love either. If I was you, I would try to see if I could get another tight end on your bench so that if, in fact, you can play matchups with Taysom, great. This week, I would suggest you play Taysom. But in the future, it may not be as easy of a matchup if, in fact, he's not going to get as much of a workload on a consistent basis. So be careful with that. Otherwise, in terms of the running back, quarterback talent, and, I mean, you went heavy RB. I mean, Barkley, Mixon, and Kyron is crazy. But you just got to hope that Metcalf and Higgins can stay healthy and sustain the wide receiver upside there, because they really are going to need to carry the workload, because, yeah, those are some valuable positions there that you took discounts on. Let's see here. Choose one of those guys to play. Ignore the wide receiver thing. Got it. If I'm playing one of those three options in my rankings, I currently have it as Brian Thomas Jr. as the play. Thank you. Alberto says, in a half PPR, I have Neighbors or Jerome Ford. Neighbors or Jerome Ford? If it was a full PPR, I think I'd be really confident in saying Neighbors. In a half PPR, I'm not as confident, so I probably lean towards Ford there. Neighbors or Reed, for sure play Neighbors. Any updates on this game? Will be delayed. Very well. Doesn't matter. Okay. Well, that is the thing. Even though the game is delayed, I will tell you, I still will be leaving at the same time. So probably in about 13 minutes when it hits 5:10 p.m. PST, that is where I will be sending it out, and I will salute and be on my way. Until then, answering questions. Again, thank you for joining us this afternoon. I know many of you, I mean, I guess if you're on the West Coast, you probably didn't catch the stream. Unless, I mean, you know, if you're at work and you're watching the stream, you know what? Even better, thank you. But moving on. Casper says, start three. We have Adams, London, Marvin Harrison, and Rice. I'm starting all three of those receivers over Rice. Thank you. SM says, Ayuk, Bowers, Ford, Swift, Mostert, and Palmer. I have Flowers in the flex. Should I replace him? No, you shouldn't. Leave it as is. What do we do with Xavier Worthy? If you're playing in a league where like it's a 14 or 12 team league where you have multiple flex options, you can play him. Otherwise, you leave him on the bench, you see how he performs, and if he's a consistent option going forward, then you can potentially play him. But otherwise, I think it's a kind of a wait and see. I have him ranked as my number 44 wide receiver in a half PPR, so do with that as you will. Terry says, hi, Andrew. Amari Cooper or James Conner in a half PPR flex? That's a really good question. In a full PPR, I would just blindly 100% say Amari Cooper. In a full PPR, it makes it a little bit more difficult to determine, but I still do have Amari Cooper ahead of him in a half. Thank you. James Cook or Isaiah Pacheco, full PPR? Both. I'm not picking between the two. I'm telling you both. You got to play. I mean, there's no reason... There's no way that a running back that typically, I mean, look, okay, you know what? I won't say no way. If you're playing in a 4-team league, 5-team league, 6-team league, sure. At that point, we can split hairs and we'll take James Cook there. But as of right now, we got to play both. Where do we cut off the auto starts at quarterback? I have Goff and no backup. Okay, so the auto start quarterbacks, I think, end in my mind probably at, let me look at this list. So Allen, Hurts, Mahomes, Stroud, Richardson, Jackson, Burrow, Love, Kyler are all auto starts. Everything after that is matchup based. Okay, let's see here. Alexander Drucker. Alexander, what's up? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well, Alexander. Let's see here. Hey, Andrew. Hope all is well. Full PPR. Flex. Chuba Hubbard or Worthy? I think I'm still playing Chuba Hubbard there. Rest of my team consists of Kelsey, Tyreek, London, Flowers, Montgomery, Pollard. Yeah, I mean, again, considering he's a rookie. We haven't seen him play within the offense. We don't know how he's going to be utilized. We can assume things, but as it currently stands, I'd rather take the running back that I know is going to get himself 15, 16 touches in a matchup in which he succeeded again pretty well last season, putting up over 10 fantasy points. And then additionally, now has an improvement in offensive line, receiver, offensive coordinator, etc. Like, everything bodes well for Chuba in this scenario. Hank Hennig says, Andrew, lost signal, didn't get the response there. Got it. If I am picking one of the available following that you mentioned earlier, am I worried about the Chiefs defense? This week, not so. If I was you, for the next 2 weeks, I probably wouldn't play the Chiefs defense. I would probably look elsewhere because they play Baltimore this week and Cincinnati the week after. If I'm you, I'm most likely finding another defense like Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Chicago, Seattle, Cincinnati. I'm playing one of those this week. If it's my team, that's the way I'm going about it. Matthew Tam says, Mixon, Terry McLaurin, or Rice in the flex. If it's a half PPR, I'll take Mixon. If it's a full PPR, I'm willing to go with Rice there. If it's a standard, I'll take Mixon. No problem, Alex. Isaiah Sanders says, Ayuk, Pollard, Harris in the flex. That one I got to think about. It's probably either Pollard or Ayuk. I don't know if I'm playing Harris there, technically. Scotty says, hey, Andrew, Rashi or DK in a half PPR? I'm pretty sure in a half PPR. Let's see. Today's rankings are brought to you by Patreon. Sign up today. DK Metcalf is one spot ahead of Rashi Rice in a half PPR. They're ranked 18 and 19. Thank you. Is Justin Tucker a good play? I don't see why not. I mean, look, I didn't love him as a play naturally this week. He's still like a top 6 kicker, but he's number 6. Just put it that way. Kincaid Andrews says Nicholas Thompson. I don't know what that means. Okay. Hey, Andrew, have a great year. Thank you. Non-PPR standard. Flex. Najee Harris or Tank Dell. In a non-PPR league, just off of yardage alone, I'm probably playing Najee Harris. Yardage, touchdowns, etc. Yeah, Najee. Kincaid or Andrews, should I replace Zamir White with a tight end? Yes, I play them both. Would you start Neighbors over Rice? Probably not, no. Alexander Songrass, hope you're doing well, Alex. Says full PPR, traded Montgomery for Rice in my flex. Traded Montgomery for Rice. Okay, very well. That's not a problem, especially in a full PPR. I do value Rice more. Is it a good trade? Yes, I think so. I have Mahomes at quarterback, even makes it better. Butker safe as my kicker with the weather? Yes. Ravens or Seattle defense? I'd rather play Seattle, especially considering they have Denver this week, then New England next week. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it. Would you start Neighbors over Rice? Again, the answer is no. Chiefs or Bears defense this week? I'd rather play the Bears defense. I think I do have them ranked higher, actually. In fact, Ramblin' Man says Coleman's role is more defined with less competition. I think, he's talking to, okay. Rexton is talking to Ramblin' Man. Never mind. We're good. All right. I think that's it, guys. I do appreciate y'all. Thank you very much. Sitting here for 3 hours, my legs are not conditioned to sit down this long. Legitimately. I am in pain. Chicken burrito, chicken taco, chicken chimichangas. We'll take some tacos. That sounds good right now. Do I start Rice tonight? I have Debo and Michael Pittman in my lineup now. Debo has to stay in your lineup. If you're playing in a full PPR, I feel like Rice is the proper play over Pittman. If it's a half, I can understand the Pittman play. Rogo says, appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Game has been rescheduled for another 20 minutes. I'm aware, but I can't sit down here for much longer. My legs are going to explode. That's the issue. I need to stand up. Like, the energy that is coursing through me, guys, that I can feel resonating from the 2024 season about to be kicked off in however many minutes it takes. The resonating energy is starting to cramp my legs while I sit. Can you imagine? Usually people cramp when they're running. Andrew's cramping when he's sitting. This is what I'm talking about. The energy is pulsating through my legs. It's clogging arteries as we speak. Okay, we understand what's going on here. We're having a meltdown. Rashi Rice or Devin Singletary? I'll take Rashi there. Would you start Neighbors over Rice? Okay. All right. Someone's getting banned. No, I'm just kidding. Rice or Godwin? I like Godwin a lot this week. Okay. I think we're good to go. I think that's where I'm going to call it, guys. I appreciate y'all. Much love. Best of luck. Enjoy tonight's game. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to cue the music. And your boy's going to go and finally stretch his legs, get something to eat, and enjoy the 2024 kickoff. Best of luck, everybody. Let's hope this weather subsides before this game begins. And that is it. Andrew's cueing the music. And until next time, I'll see you guys. Peace. Okay. I just saw that Ulysses, the camera's off, but I'm going to answer your question, okay? I'm still here. If you had to, half PPR, Eckler or Zeke? I have Eckler ahead of Zeke in my half PPR rankings. Thank you. All right, back to the music. I'm telling you, man, this song always hits. For those of you who stayed until after the song was over, thank you for coming, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.